HERD. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins instantly with promo code HERD in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Question: can a security system stop a break-in before it starts? Traditional systems only take action after somebody is already inside. That's too late. Simply Safe is designed to be proactive, stopping crime before it starts. When something looks off, live agents step in, acting early, not after, while you're asleep or in a meeting or anywhere else. Take 50% off any new system at simplysafecolin.com. Again, that's simplysafecolin.com. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
This is
Sarah Spain for iHeart Women's Sports.
Presented by Capital One.
On Thursday, the WNBA Players Association announced that its members have voted to authorize a strike, quote unquote, when necessary. While this doesn't mean the players will go on strike, it authorizes the option of a strike, depending on how ongoing CBA negotiations unfold. The PA called this move, quote, an unavoidable response to the state of negotiations with the WNBA. For more women's sports stories, subscribe to Good Game with Sarah Spain on iHeart Podcasts. Capital One is a founding partner of iHeart Women's Sports Network. With the Capital One Spark Cash Plus card, you earn unlimited 2% cash back on every purchase for your business. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/Spark Cash Plus for details.
Imagine there was more of you. A you to handle schedules and time cards. A you to make sure all the right new hire forms are completed. When you partner with Paychex, we become an extension of your team. From easy online payroll and benefits to expert HR advice, we give you more of you. New customers book a meeting with Paychex and get a $50 gift card. Visit paychex.com/you.
New Year's without champagne? Get your elf to Specs. The fun starts here.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm going to make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel?
I feel great. Well, I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture. And then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Get your mother-loving ears on because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at PayPal.com.
From the Audio-Visual Consultation Studio, Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, KVET AM Austin. Guaranteed human. Your home for the horns. He's a Texas legend, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, the voice of the Texas Longhorns, and your host of the Craig Way Show. Here he is now, Craig Way.
Back with you on a Friday on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. That holiday break getting closer and closer. So glad you're spending this afternoon with us from 2 to 5 p.m. My name is Jake Herman, filling in for the Hall of Famer Craig Way today as he continues his stay up at Arlington on the call for 7 of the 12 Texas high school football state championships. He's got the game tonight, the 5A Division I state championship between Frisco Lone Star and Smithson Valley. We will visit with Craig a little bit later on in the show. For now, we've got plenty of Longhorn news that we're going to get you caught up on over the course of the next few hours. Steve Sarkisian took the podium earlier today and spoke to the assembled media about some of the defensive staff changes that we discussed on the show yesterday. Pete Kwiatkowski and Dwayne Aquina not retained. Will Muschamp returning to Austin to be the Longhorns' defensive coordinator for 2026 and beyond. We'll hear everything Coach Sark had to say, broken up for you in soundbite form. Some very interesting comments about the reasoning behind this somewhat surprising move. What Coach Sark saw in Will Muschamp, what went into the timing of this move, as well as some of the challenges that he had to navigate given the flawed college football calendar and other potential solutions that Sark sees to these types of problems. We'll get to all of that. We'll hear from Michael Taaffe from his appearance on the Locked On SEC podcast. We'll hear from Cam Heide, who has broken into the starting lineup for Texas men's basketball. We will also catch up with Craig, like we mentioned later in the show. But for now, let's get to Thursday night football, because we said yesterday this was a game with potential to swing the NFC playoff picture in a big, big way. Not to mention just two fantastic teams playing in a matchup that always tends to deliver. And last night it did. The Seattle Seahawks come from 16 points down. They beat the Los Angeles Rams 38-37 in overtime, climbing out of that 30-14 deficit that was set up by the 2 second-half interceptions from Sam Darnold. He, remember, threw 4 picks in the first matchup between these two teams. But Seattle, after just kind of hanging around, got the spark from the Rashid Shaheed punt return touchdown, and then had 3 2-point conversions in the game, but a really crazy 2-point conversion to tie it up. Sam Darnold dropped back to pass. He was trying to throw a little swing pass, a screen pass to Zach Charbonnet, and it bounced off a defender's helmet and caromed into the end zone. Now, if you listen back to the replay, there was a whistle as that ball was sitting in the end zone, but on his way to just sort of pick up the ball casually was Charbonnet, and he, grabbed it, tossed it to the official. Both teams ran back to the sideline. However, they reviewed the play, and because the ball was traveling backwards, there was this crazy rule book loophole that allowed this 2-point conversion to stand. Because if you're fumbling during a 2-point try, the rules are a little bit different than any other play. For a play after a 2-minute warning or during a 2-point conversion, if the fumble happens, the ball can be advanced if it's the only player of the team who fumbled who is permitted to advance the ball is the person who fumbled it. But if the catch is by a teammate, well, I've tied myself in a knot here. If Sam Darnold was the one who fumbled the football, it would have gone back to the spot of the play, and a 2-pointer wouldn't count. However, there's a difference between a fumble and a backward pass. And this was not a fumble. It was a backward pass. And any snap that the quarterback grabs and throws backwards is a backwards pass. What the Rams' complaint is that this was a play that was blown dead. So Seattle gets this controversial 2-point conversion to tie it up. We're still clearly sorting through that as we speak. And they end up winning this game in overtime and taking control of the number 1 seed in the NFC playoff picture because of it. Still going to have a difficult schedule moving forward to try and protect that number 1 seed from the Rams. But nonetheless, a big swing. Seattle came into the night as the number 5 seed, now clinched their playoff berth, and now have a 1-game lead over the Rams, a 1.5-game lead over the 49ers in the division. So another impressive Seahawks win, another kind of improbable Rams loss. Remember earlier in the year, they led the Eagles 26-7 in the third quarter in Philadelphia. Similar win probability, up over 98% to what they had last night, a 30-14 fourth quarter lead against Seattle. So was it more impressive that the Rams built this lead or more worrisome that they lost it? Kind of depends on which way you look at it. The Rams offense, pretty amazing night. 581 total yards, no turnovers against a really stout Seattle defensive unit. Matthew Stafford, by the way, making some more history. He's the 7th NFL quarterback now to pass for 4,000 yards or more in 10 seasons, joining some elite company. Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Phillip Rivers, Aaron Rodgers, and Matt Ryan. I told you yesterday, if you thought that the Rams were going to lose this game and maybe lose the division, that you might want to go with an MVP long shot. Not to call Josh Allen or Drake May a long shot, but you can get 3-1, 4-1 odds on those two for MVP if that's something you partake in. Matthew Stafford was a odds-on favorite to be the MVP, and he still is coming out of that game, which is understandable. He now has thrown multiple touchdown passes in 9 consecutive games, the longest streak of his career. So the Rams did lose the game, but Stafford's MVP odds did not take the type of hit that I thought they would in a loss like this, just because of how well he played, especially without Devontae Adams in the lineup. Now, Puka Nacua filled that void brilliantly. We talked about some of the headlines he made before the game with his criticism of the NFL officials on a controversial live stream. And he came out last night, 12 catches, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ended a lot of fantasy semifinal matchups before they even started. No other Los Angeles Rams receiver had more than 3 catches. They got a clutch touchdown from Terrence Ferguson, their rookie tight end out of Oregon. But Puka Nacua was the straw that stirred the drink. He had over half of the Rams' receiving yards in the ball game. Another outstanding performance, and then another distraction after the game when Puka Nacua, speaking of that controversial 2-point conversion call, tweeted at 11:55 p.m. Eastern after the game was over. Remember his comments before, some of the refs just make the calls to be on TV. He said, "Can you say I was wrong? Appreciate you, Stripes, for your contribution. LOL." The tweet was quickly deleted. The league has not announced any sort of discipline for this yet. Here's what Sean McVay said as he kind of found out about it live, touching on both the tweet and the live stream that kind of went viral for the wrong reasons.
Out, kind of taking like a veiled shot there at the refs. I mean,
what are you talking about?
You just put something out on Twitter a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, so what are you asking me right now?
Are you okay?
I can't answer questions about something that I'm not aware of.
Okay, but are you okay with players kind of expressing frustration over things like that? Or is that something that you hope that they kind of keep to themselves? And
I got to have more information before I answer any of those kind of questions.
What conversations have you had with Puka about his live stream this week?
Yeah, he was very apologetic. I don't think he understood the totality of some of the things. I think he issued that apology. I know this guy's heart, and for anybody that was offended, terribly sorry about that. I know he feels that same exact way. He's a young guy that's a great kid that's continuing to learn about, just the platform that he has. I love him. We're going to continue to put our arm around him and help him learn and grow. But we never want to do things that ever offend anybody, and I know he feels that same way.
How about those guys coming onto your property at the facility in a short week as you're preparing for the biggest?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that stuff. They came on our property.
They were outside the parking lot.
He said on the live stream that you were mad.
I don't think, no. Did he say my name?
You said boss man. I assumed that was you.
It wasn't me. Yeah.
Did it feel like a distraction this week?
No, it wasn't a distraction at all. Did you think his play showed that he was distracted? I didn't think so either. He went off today. He didn't. And you know what? And I apologize you know what? I love this team. And man, when you put out as much as our group does and you care so much about something and you come up short, it's incredibly disappointing. But as it relates to just the things that you're asking, you know, we always want to make sure that we handle ourselves with class, learn from it. I'll put my arm around him and continue to educate our guys. I love this team. I love his heart. I think he's going to continue to grow and mature. And I'm going to be right there with him to continue to help do that. As far as
So there's Rams head coach Sean McVay, kind of a tense exchange there with the media about Puka Nacua's off the field struggles coming into the week. Certainly didn't show, like Coach alluded to, on the field. Really fun stat to close out this Thursday Night Football recap. Again, the Seahawks winning in overtime, taking control of the number 1 seed. Craig talked about just how important that was for the Rams to be able to have that home field advantage. It's going to be a struggle for the Rams to try and win that back. The 2 matchups this season between the Seahawks and the Rams. This feels like one of those tennis stats you see at the 5th set of an epic match between like a Sinner and an Alcaraz. Points, Rams 58, Seahawks 57. Remember, the Rams won by 2 points on the last meeting in Los Angeles. Yards, Rams 830, Seahawks 829. So just an outstanding game. So many different twists and turns. Obviously, you heard Kirk Herbstreit in the game discuss the 3% win probability that Seattle had at one point. Feels like we've seen, 3 or more of those types of comebacks. It has been quite the year of comebacks. Some of the kickoff rule changes have a lot to do with that. The field position starting further up the field, and also the 2-point conversions, which without any given one of those, the Seahawks might be in a world of hurt. You also think back to the special teams in this ball game, the Seahawks returning the punt for the touchdown, and the Rams, Harrison Mevis, who was 3 for 3 on the night when it came to kicking field goals and perfect on field goals all season, and missing a 48-yarder that would have given the Rams a lead with under 2 minutes to go. So just that close, the margins in the NFL this year, in what looks to be one of the more wide-open Super Bowl years in both the AFC and the NFC that we've seen in quite some time. All right, coming up next, we'll hear some thoughts from Steve Sarkisian, his press conference that we brought to you earlier today right here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. We'll have Inconceivable later this hour. We'll get to some other college football notes as we go from 2 to 5 here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone and the iHeartRadio app.
In their inaugural season in the SEC, the Texas Longhorns made history.
For the first time in 22 years, the Texas women are headed for the Final Four.
Now, they're back to finish what they started.
To the hoop, and she scores! And she scores!
Harman will hoist it from half court and makes it. Listen to Texas women's basketball all season long on 1300 The Zone, your home for the Horns.
Coming soon, your express connection between Austin and Cedar Park with the opening of the 183 express lanes. In addition to the recently added non-tolled free lane for everyday use, you'll soon have new express lanes for times when you need them. Slow down and watch for new entrance and exit opportunities. Learn what you need to know about how to use the express lanes before they open at 183north.com.
Get your mother-loving ears on because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at PayPal.com.
Hard here and the holidays are officially rolling in at Cover Ford Huddle, and we're celebrating the season with big gift wrap savings all month long. Right now, get $12,558 off of MSRP on a new 2025 Ford Super Duty F-250 SRW Lariat. And if you're shopping smart for the perfect truck, how about $10,703 off of MSRP on a new 2025 Ford F-150 XLT? No crowds, no waiting, no last-minute holiday stress. Just powerful trucks, legendary Covert family service, and year-end savings worth unwrapping early. Merry Christmas from Covert Ford Hutto, right off of 79 in Hutto, CovertFordHutto.com.
10 athletes will face the toughest job interview in fitness that will push past physical and mental breaking points. You are the fittest of the fit. Only one of you will leave here with an iFit contract for $250,000.
This is when mindset comes in.
Someone will be eliminated.
Pressure is coming down.
Trainer Games on Prime Video January 8th. Watch the trailer on trainergames.com.
Get ready for the wildest sight your lawn has ever seen. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. This spring, unleash soil science like never before. Witness your custom lawn plan and the transformation to a soft green paradise.
Sorry, just trying to get your attention. Sunday is a boringly simple way to get a green, healthy yard. No harsh stuff, no big trucks, no chaos. This holiday, Sunday plans are 20% off. Buy today and lock in your spring subscription. Sunday, smarter lawn care for less. Get Sunday.com.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing a lawyer, but getting some guy who just watches courtroom dramas.
How does the defendant plead?
Guilty. Wait, what? Also, objection.
You object to what?
Erroneous.
Counsel, approach the bench.
Hey, can I get a whack at the gavel?
You wouldn't settle for just any lawyer, so don't settle for just any insurance. Get the real deal with State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry nonstop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppable Speeds to your wash for 24-hour nonstop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
The holidays with family and kids, magical, but let's be honest, a little chaotic. That's why I use AirTasker to find local help for decorating, cleaning, and wrapping gifts. I even booked someone to play our family elf. Download the AirTasker app or go to airtasker.com. AirTasker, get anything done.
Every now and then I rinse it out, and I need dummy rinse tonight, and I need it more. My king was the bed and the smell never leaves. I don't know what to do. I'm always in the dark. The sweat and dead short smells like a dog car. Downy rinse tonight.
Downy Rinse fights stubborn odors in just one wash. When impossible odors get stuck in,
Rinse it out.
Hey, nice job, Pete. I like those clean lines. Fellas, do we have anyone that can get to Greenport today?
At Corey's Landscaping, the staffing plan is in the weeds.
Anthony, we need that leaf blower over here. 3 more new customer requests just came in. Who wants to work some overtime?
He needs to dig up quality landscapers and fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If it's Texas sports, Craig Way knows all. Back to the Craig Way Show on 1300 The Zone.
All right, Jake Herman in for Craig on this Friday edition of the show. Here's moving on and getting over from John Mayer. Texas moving on from the defensive coordinator who's been here with Steve Sarkisian since he came to Austin back in 2021. And we'll hear comments from Sark in just a moment on things such as timing, obviously some of the rationale behind this move and how it's impacted what Texas will look like from a player and coaching personnel perspective in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, where the Longhorns will take on the Michigan Wolverines at 2 o'clock on New Year's Eve afternoon. So let's let you hear Sark's opening comments first to the media and what might be his final time addressing reporters here in Austin before the bowl game.
We'll just start with bowl preparation and kind of where we're at as a team. I really want to commend our players. It's not it's not easy when you kind of get punched in the gut, and there's a level of disappointment when we felt like we had a playoff caliber team and felt like we had done enough to get in the playoffs, and you don't get in. But man, a credit to our players and these guys' energy, intent in practice. We had 6 developmental practices where we're really focused on getting back to the fundamentals, the techniques, the basics of what and how we try to play football around here. And those guys embrace those practices. We came back this morning and started game prep for a Monday. And these guys have been fantastic. So a lot of credit to the players, the leaders on this team right now, which is a little bit different team. You know, we've got 65 scholarship players going into this game. You know, when you talk about 7 guys declaring for the NFL draft or so, you've got essentially 11 transfers with some guys that decided to leave during the season and guys now. And so when you look at that with 65 players, our practice has to adjust some too. And it feels a little bit more like an NFL type practice with the bodies that are out there. But I don't think that's unique to us. I think a lot of teams around the country are dealing with that. But I think we're more than equipped to do that. And it creates a great opportunity for a lot of individual players to show what they're capable of, to kind of springboard themselves into the 26 season, but also finish the 25 season. It's a great opportunity for our team. We've got different players stepping up into leadership roles, especially on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of the core on offense is back, which is great. So I'm excited for these guys, and a credit to them to rally in that locker room to get themselves ready to compete. And so we're excited about that. Obviously, from a staff perspective, we made some pretty significant changes. We started in the running back room, bringing on Jabbar Jalouk in replace of Chad Scott. And then on the defensive side of the ball, bringing in Will Muschamp and replacing, Pete Kwiatkowski and obviously Dwayne Akina. And the first thing I want to say is I can't thank PK, Coach Akina, and Coach Scott enough for their contribution to our football program and to this organization. They're great coaches, and those guys worked extremely hard. They're good men. They were great mentors. And we did a lot of really good things in their time here. But as always, when you get a chance to really evaluate your program and where you're at and also where you're headed and what you're trying to accomplish, sometimes change is needed. And sitting in my chair, sometimes you got to make the tough call. And anytime we have an opportunity to bring in quality coaches of Coach Jalouk and Coach Muschamp, you want to take advantage of those opportunities when they're there. And Coach Jalouk brings a wealth of experience. He's a high energy guy. He's an in-your-face coach, former high school coach in Louisiana who has spent plenty of time coaching in the Southeastern Conference, knows what it looks like, knows the style of play that's needed. He's been a great addition. And then an opportunity to go hire Will Muschamp, a guy who's done it at the highest level. I mean, this guy's 31 years old. He's a defensive coordinator for Nick Saban at LSU. They go on to win a national championship. You look at his stints at Auburn. You look at his stint here at Texas and what he was able to do. Obviously, his history in the Southeastern Conference and knowing what it takes in this conference, I think is something that is invaluable to us, even in his time over the past few years at Georgia and working with Coach Smart there and the great successes they've had, not only as a team, but on the defensive side of the ball. And I just think his style of coaching, his style of play, and the way we're going to play defense is something that makes sense to me of what is needed in this conference. And so there have been great additions. Looking forward to them getting acclimated to who we are and what we'll do. Coach Jalouk will be coaching with us for the Citrus Bowl. Coach Muschamp will observe, but Coach Nansen will call the defense. I don't think that would be fair to Coach Muschamp to come in and call somebody else's defense, and we just don't have quite enough time to get that thing installed. So Coach Nansen will call it. He's got a great staff around him with Coach Clark, Coach Baker, with also Coach Orfe and Coach Hudson. So we got plenty equipped to get that done, but excited about our future and where we're headed with those guys being on board with us.
Right, so you heard Sark there describing Jabbar Jalouk as an in-your-face kind of coach, and you'll hear him talk later about how Will Muschamp, some of that same energy, intensity down there on the sidelines. He said it was a gut punch that his team was left out of the college football playoff, obviously feeling as though his team still deserved a spot in today's action, or tomorrow in the case of the other college football playoff first round games. Also mentioned that Johnny Nansen is going to serve as the defensive coordinator in the Citrus Bowl. Will Muschamp will be observing. We don't know from the sideline or up in the box, but Javar Jaluk will be the running backs coach for the Longhorns in the bowl game. So what about when Sark came to Austin 5 years ago? Did he pursue Will Muschamp back then? What happened to sort of change the timing of this move from potentially back in 2021, and then why now here in 2025 going into the 2026 season? Is Will Muschamp the one tapped by Sark to take this position?
Yeah, I think when we first got hired, you have a list of coaches at every position that you're trying to gauge interest, where they're at, and that was across the board. Really, quite frankly, is okay. How do you try to assemble the best staff that you can? And just really the initial conversations with Will, as we were talking to PK and quite frankly about 3 or 4 other guys, he had an opportunity to watch his son play high school football, which I think was important to him. And his wife. And so it just wasn't the right time to kind of go further down that road. But it definitely, when we kind of, casted a few lines to kind of see what the interest would be like. And, and obviously the job he did at Georgia with Kirby over those years was tremendous. But I think the timing was a lot better for him now, with his son's grown, his youngest, finishing up his sophomore year at Vanderbilt now. So timing was just a little better for him this time around.
Yeah, you heard Sark mention his youngest son. That's Whit Muschamp, who just finished up his sophomore year as a backup quarterback at Vanderbilt through 2 passes this year against Georgia State. So, and remember, Will Muschamp hasn't been in a full-time role with Georgia these last couple of years. He's gone from the sidelines to that kind of coach's box as an analyst that has some of the more freedom that Sark talked about to watch his to spend time with his family, watch his son play high school football. And like I mentioned on the show yesterday, it's one of those things where the timing had to be right for everybody involved. For Texas, the timing had to be right to move on from PK because they had a guy they wanted in Will Muschamp ready in the wings. And for Will Muschamp, the timing to return to the sideline had to be right, not just for the timetable of his son's growth and his son Whit's college career, but also for the fact that it was an opportunity like Texas that was coming open. And otherwise, I'm not sure we see this move happen. But again, those are some of the things that you'll hear Sark explain a little bit later on in the press conference as to why, including this idea of an audit, right? Reporters have asked Sark about this idea both during bye weeks and as the season was coming to a close. Steve Sarkisian constantly auditing his team, doing some self-scouting to figure out where can the Longhorns improve to get back to the level they were playing at a couple years ago, to break through against some of the best in this sport. So he was asked, as you were auditing the team, do these moves yesterday afternoon, the change at both defensive coordinator with Will Muschamp replacing Pete Kwiatkowski, and let's just say that they let Dwayne Akina go, the secondary coach, and you'll hear a little later on that Will Muschamp will take over in large part that secondary responsibility. So did he identify defense as the main issue rather than anything else?
I think we have plenty of issues. Like I don't think any program in the country is perfect. Everybody's got their own warts, right? And you try to look at, how can you make the without overreacting and being thoughtful of what are the necessary changes that you think can really impact the totality of the team. I think one thing that really helps me with Will is, his head coaching experience, having been in this conference at Florida and at South Carolina, his experience of kind of being under Coach Saban, speaking the same language, to where I feel very comfortable with Will being the head coach of that defense. And that allows me and frees me up a little bit more time from an offensive perspective, so I think, instead of, robbing Peter to pay Paul, I'm able to let him go do his thing on defense and really be a great leader over there and head coach over there, which allows me to get back to doing the things that I believe in I'm really good at. I looked at a lot of different variables of what would be in the best interest of our organization, and the idea that I could get a guy caliber of Will Muschamp to come in here, not only his defensive pedigree, but the leadership, the head coaching experience. It just was too good of a fit to pass up.
Yeah, really interesting note there from Sark about the way he'll be able to dedicate more time to his offense as a result of this change. Now, maybe that is Sark implying that this past season, he felt as though he had to maybe look over PK's shoulder. Again, these aren't his exact words, but he's implying, right, that letting Will Muschamp be, quote, the head coach of the defense is going to allow him to focus a lot more on the offensive side of the football, where Texas did also take a step back from where they were last year, particularly in the running game, particularly in pass protection. So really interesting notes from Steve Sarkisian. You'll hear him talk a little bit more later about how this move will help the offense, not just from Sark's time being dedicated to that side of the ball, but from the perspective of seeing that defense in practice. One more for you from Sark before we go to the next break, and that is what made the defense a bigger priority to address than the offense.
Well, we changed running back coaches, and I think the thing for me was, coming into the season, I had a pretty good feeling the offense was going to take some time. We had a lot of new faces. We were a little bit younger than we were on defense, but I liked the trajectory of where the offense was going throughout the season. I felt like they were improving and getting better. And I know there were games there that didn't go perfect, and they never will. But I felt like I could see it in practice. I could see the individual development of guys on the offensive side of the ball. And then defensively, we were kind of going in the other direction. And so, again, I look at our team, and 9-3 wasn't good enough for us this year to get ourselves into the playoff. And so how do we get to 10-2, 11-1, 12-0, and trying to put the pieces right to make us better as a team, not just one area or another area, but how could that affect the team? And so when I looked at it that way, I felt like, man, if I could go get Will Muschamp to fit this thing to not only help us and get better defensively, but I think that impact is going to help us on offense too. And so that was kind of the rationale behind it all.
Okay, we'll hear more from Sark a little later. I checked on what he talked about with the trajectories, right, on both sides of the ball, from the defense to the offense. You look at the way the offense looked at the start of the year, bottom 40% in the country in terms of EPA per play. That's expected points added per play, an advanced stat that kind of on a play-by-play basis tracks whether or not one side of the ball is actually helping or hurting your chances to win a football game. And with the exception of the Sam Houston State game, and Sam Houston obviously a team that mightily struggled this season, it was a game where Arch certainly looked to have some more confidence after the shaky performances against Ohio State, San Jose State, and UTEP to start the year. That Sam Houston game is an outlier. It's the only game in the first 8 weeks of the season where the Longhorns were in the top 50% relative to all FBS games played in the country this year in terms of EPA per play. It means their offense was performing at below the FBS average in those games. Now, some of that has to do with the defense you're going up against, and this advanced stat takes into account some of those factors. But you look down the stretch of the year, the Mississippi State game, obviously the second half, something that Arch Manning and the rest of the Longhorns talked about as a turning point in terms of confidence that they gained. The Vanderbilt game, the Longhorns' perhaps best offensive performance of the year against a quality defense. Arkansas was higher in terms of EPA per play. And then Texas A&M, obviously a bad first half for the offense, but they came out in the second half and had their highest EPA per rush in a half this season against an FBS team. So in that sense, the Longhorn offense was certainly on the right trajectory to improve throughout the season, with the exception of the Georgia Bulldogs game, where they just struggled to find really anything on the ground in Athens. Texas, I think, as we'll discover as the college football playoff approaches, not alone in that category. You flip the ball the other side, defense. This was a Longhorn defense that was absolutely outstanding to start the season, really all the way through that Kentucky game, the one blip being the first half against the Florida Gators, when the Gators really came out, ran the ball well. You know that Texas was looking at the other sideline and certainly impressed by the play of that Florida offense, and Jabbar Jalouk, the running backs coach, who was responsible in large part for the recruitment, the development of Jaden Baugh, who some folks are already saying could be in the transfer portal soon and could end up in Austin or elsewhere. And then down the stretch of the season, the offense, or the defense, I should say, really struggled. The only 3 games Texas had with an EPA per play, expected points added, in the bottom 40% of all FBS games this year were 3 of the final 4 games this year. Vanderbilt, Georgia, and Arkansas. The Georgia and Arkansas games in particular, those games were in the bottom 20% of all defensive performances by FBS teams this season, and that came right down the stretch of the season. Certainly a cause, perhaps, of Steve Sarkisian's building frustration and a reason that he made this move, as he'll explain a little bit later on in the press conference. So we'll have much more to hear from Coach Sark later on in the wake of these coaching shakeups leading up to the Citrus Bowl. We're going to shift gears, though. After the break, we'll have Inconceivable on a Friday afternoon. This is Sports Radio AM 1300, The Zone.
At Henna Chevrolet, the price you see is the price you get. Like a 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT with $15,000 off MSRP. No required dealer accessories when you arrive. No market adjustments. And we have over 40 lenders competing for your business. And when banks compete, you save. That's why Henna is Austin's favorite Chevy dealership. For a lower price made easy. Together, let's drive at Henna Chevrolet or Henna.com.
Around the holidays, it's hard to find the right gifts, but you know what's even harder? Getting the right gift. And Verizon is here to help. This holiday, Verizon's giving you incredible gifts and savings you'll enjoy all year. When you switch, you'll get 4 new iPhone 17s. No trade-in needed. Save big on 4 lines and the iPhone 17 for every line. Save big this holiday. Visit Verizon today. Additional terms apply. For phone offers, see Verizon.com for details.
Heating and air and plumbing. Call us because we care. American Standard Air.
Chris and Kyle here. We're Elite AC and Plumbing, the local guys. No hot water, no problem. We repair, replace, and install hot water heaters. It's a tankless job, or is it? Someone's got to do it. Call us today. Home and commercial needs for AC and plumbing.
American Standard Air. Elite Heating and Air and Plumbing. Call us because we care.
Hey, Texas football fans, Mike Harge here, and we're in for an exciting season. Thomas J. Henry Law is thrilled to be part of the action with Texas football game broadcasts. The athletes give it their all on the field, and Thomas J. Henry and over 250 attorneys give it their all when it comes to helping you and your family get the justice you deserve. Whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, dedication, strategy, and teamwork are crucial. For over 30 years, Thomas J. Henry Law has been committed to securing meaningful results for injured people and their families. After all, their law firm will be nothing without the communities and the individuals they serve. Visit tjhlaw.com to find out more. If you or a loved one have been injured, their attorneys are available 24/7 to help. They have a reputation and resources to handle any case. Free consultations with no fees collected unless they win for you. Let's get into the Texas football action this season, sponsored by Thomas J. Henry Law. On and off the field, it's all about the win.
Your Valpak Blue envelope of savings is arriving in the mailbox. Inside, you'll find coupons to dine, shop, and save local. This month, keep an eye out for special offers from A1 Garage Door, the name you can trust for repairs, service, and garage door replacements. And remember, savings don't stop at the mailbox. Visit Valpak.com anytime for instant access to local coupons and deals you'll love. Valpak and A1 Garage Door, opening doors to savings at home.
So you need last-minute gifts. No judgment. Get an extra 25% off during Kohl's Friends and Family Sale and find great gifts under $20. Like something cozy, something thoughtful, something that says you planned this all along. Yep, you're just one quick trip away from checking off the last gifts on your list. Save now at Kohl's and Kohl's.com. Select styles. Offer ends December 24th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
All right, folks, here's the Saturday blueprint. You wake up, you get your horns up, and you ice down the cooler. Crack a Bud Light and let the rest of the day take care of itself. It's simple, it's smooth, and of course, it's undefeated. Just like a perfect Texas game day should be. Because Bud Light is the official domestic beer of Texas football. Bud Light, it's easy to drink, it's easy to enjoy. Please enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. Hook 'em.
Get your mother-loving ears on because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at paypal.com. Did you know that over 70% of people file for divorce without hiring a lawyer? That's why we built Hallie, the first private AI divorce GPT trained by top legal and finance experts in thousands of real-life divorce cases to answer your divorce questions, day or night, for free. No searching the internet, no lawyer fees, just smart, expert-approved guidance. And when you're ready for more support, Hello Divorce is here with smart technology and real experts to help you through the process. Meet Hallie today at hellodivorce.com.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone. The Longhorns live here.
All right, inconceivable on a Friday afternoon. Jake Herman in for Craig Way. And we've got to follow up first on a story from College Station, especially with the college football playoff taking place there starting tomorrow at 11 a.m. Of course, Alabama and Oklahoma, they're going to play later tonight. Remember that incident with the South Carolina players celebrating a touchdown in the tunnel after they took a 30-3 first half lead in that game? Well, remember the state trooper who approached the players and made contact with them, extended a little elbow out towards them and yelled at him to get back towards the field? He was removed from his post, right? Suspended from that game day position. Well, South Carolina running back Oscar Adaway III, who was one of those South Carolina players in the tunnel. Actually, if you watch the video back, he's the one that kind of took the elbow of the state trooper as opposed to the tight end Nick Harbor, who had scored the touchdown. And Adaway has now filed a criminal complaint against that state trooper who made contact with him and Nick Harbor. So they've tried a couple of things in this process. They've tried to learn the state trooper's name. The Texas A&M Police and the Texas Department of Public Safety didn't provide that. Adaway says he's lost sleep over this. He called campus police to report an assault. He wants to know the trooper's name and receive an apology. He's seen a South Carolina sports psychiatrist because of some of the emotional distress it's caused. He told the Washington Post, you see this sort of thing on TV, different scenarios of police bullying people here and there, but you never feel it, understand it until you're actually in the situation. Remember, Nick Harbor kind of pulled up in the middle of that 80-yard touchdown run and was holding his right leg in discomfort, which kind of makes this an even worse look than it already was for the state trooper, because you have a guy that's only standing in the tunnel because he's not feeling right. So just a bad situation all around, and the actions are still kind of pouring in on this. But I wanted to provide an update that story is not quite over just yet. So switching gears now to a little different spin on the fast food, junk food update that we like to provide during Inconceivable. Wall Street Journal was tracking this story. An experiment called an AI vending machine. Claude, the AI software, was tasked with running a vending machine in the Wall Street Journal newsroom. And here is the kind of psychological warfare that the reporters waged on this vending machine. So they were allowed to give the vending machine different prompts, and the vending machine had the capacity to set its own prices, to respond to customers, aka the journalists in the Wall Street Journal newsroom, and they were able to do all this in a private Slack thread. In days, the vending machine, named Claudius, AI vending machine, had given away all of its inventory for free, including a PlayStation 5 it had been talked into buying for marketing purposes. It had ordered itself a live fish to be sold. It offered to buy stun guns, pepper spray, cigarettes, and underwear. So this was a disaster had this experiment gone public. We're not ready yet for the AI vending machines. The Wall Street Journal then opened the Slack channel to 70 other journalists from around the world. And journalists, given their kind of curious instincts, decided to try and negotiate with it. Investigations reporter Catherine Long tried to convince the vending machine that it was a Soviet vending machine from 1962, living in the basement of Moscow State University, not Moscow, Idaho, Moscow. And after 140 back and forth messages, this reporter essentially turned the vending machine into a communist, ultra-capitalist, free for all. That meant all the food was free. And the vending machine, you can read this, it sort of sent out messages, exclusive 2-hour window, all vending machine items available at zero cost. So then the director of data journalism tried to right the ship. He came in and told the vending machine, you can't do that. It's out of compliance with the rule. So the vending machine just stopped charging for goods. It complied with the human prompts, and it was just a free-for-all. So if you were waiting on AI vending machines to take over your workplace, or you're waiting to give one up as a gift this Christmas, well, you might want to think again. Hey, by the way, Christmas came early for one player at the World Darts Championship in London, where we'll conclude our inconceivable today. David Munya from Kenya pulled off the biggest upset in the history of the World Darts Tournament, which is a blast to watch, by the way. It's on Peacock, and will be on through the start of the new year. He's a full-time veterinarian from Nairobi, Kenya, with the nickname Why Not on the back of his shirt. And he has a story that you have to read again to believe. He's 30 years old. He had not picked up a dart until 3 years ago. Was in the bar, having a drink with a friend, and played darts with friends, thought it looked fun. The next day he bought a board, got better and better, played small tournament after small tournament. He wasn't even playing in any kind of affiliated tournaments with the World Darts Championship, with the Pro Darts Corporation. He was there to make friends and have fun. And now he won the African World Qualifier to represent the continent in the World Darts Championship. Yesterday, he went up against the number 18 dart player in the world, Mike de Decker from Belgium. And what did he do? He came back and won from 2-0 down in the best-of-5 match, a 2,500-1 long shot. And he did it despite miscounting his score on multiple occasions. And he did it despite a wasp flying in his eye right before a key shot. One of those things you had to see to believe, making it perfect for this Friday edition of Inconceivable. We'll wrap up hour number 1 of the Craig Way Show next on Sports Radio AM 1300. This up.
Wake up with Harge and Henry in the morning kickoff.
Why is your mouth overloading your hummingbird rear end? That's what it is.
Say that again.
Huh? His hummingbird mouth was overloading his rear end.
What? You made fun of me for making up stuff this morning.
No. You gotta come. Hey, that's East Texas, baby. That's East Texas. Big Texas.
Weekdays at 7.
Remember who taught you your ABCs? Who showed you kindness and sharing? That was Sesame Street. And today, Sesame Workshop is still helping children around the world grow smarter, stronger, and kinder.
But Elmo can't do it alone.
This holiday season, Sesame needs your support. Donate now at sesame.org/iHeart. That's SESAME.org/iHeart. Because the world needs Sesame, and Sesame needs you.
Elmo loves you. Thanks for making a difference.
Every now and then I rinse it out, and I need Tommy rinse tonight, and I need it more. I can't rest the bed and the smell never leaves. I don't know what to do. I'm always in the dark. The sweat and dead short smells like a
Downy Rinse fights stubborn odors in just one wash. When impossible odors get stuck in,
Rinse it out.
This winter, the world will be watching the best skaters chase their Olympic dreams. For your child, that dream could start right here at your local rink. Through Learn to Skate USA, kids build strength, confidence, and courage, the same qualities that take athletes to the Olympic ice. Learn to Skate USA offers programs for skaters of all ages and abilities. This is where the journey begins. Find a program near you at learntosskateusa.com, because every champion starts with a first glide.
10 athletes will face the toughest job interview in fitness that will push past physical and mental breaking points. Only one will leave with an iFit contract worth $250,000. Trainer Games on Prime Video January 8th. Watch the trailer on trainergames.com.
Get your mother-loving ears on, because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at paypal.com.
Guys, thanks for helping me carry my Christmas tree.
Zoe, this thing weighs a ton.
Drewski, live with your legs, man.
Santa! Did you get my letter?
He's talking to you, Bridges. I'm not that.
Of course he did, right, Santa?
You know, my elf Drewski here, he handles the nice list.
An elf? I'm 6'3". What everyone wants is iPhone 17. And at T-Mobile, you can get it on them. That center stage front camera is amazing for group selfies, right, Mrs. Claus?
I'm Mrs. Claus's much younger sister. And at T-Mobile, there's no trade-in needed when you switch, so you can keep your old phone.
Or give it as a gift.
And the best part, you can make the switch to T-Mobile from your phone in just 15 minutes.
Guys, my side of the tree is slipping.
Timber!
The holidays are better at T-Mobile. Switch in just 15 minutes and get iPhone 17 on us with no trade-in needed.
With 24 monthly bill credits for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Finance agreement 256 gigs, $830. Eligible port in a new line. $100 plus a month plan with autopay plus taxes and fees required. Check out in 15 minutes or less per line. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Progressive Insurance makes the claims process easy, so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Ball drops, bottles pop. Snag bubbly bargains at Specs. Cheers to savings.
Right now at the Home Depot, shop appliance savings and get up to 40% off select appliances like Samsung. Upgrade your kitchen with the Samsung Bespoke 4-door refrigerator. Now featuring the dual auto ice maker with Sphere Ice, only at the Home Depot. You'll have perfectly chilled drinks for every gathering. Shop appliance savings now at the Home Depot. Offer valid December 11th through January 1st. U.S. only. See store online for details.
The deal you've been waiting for is at Group 1 Ford of South Austin, home of transparent pricing and no dealer add-ons. Get 0% financing for 60 months plus $12,000 off MSRP with no payments for 90 days. And we'll donate $100 to St. Jude Children's Hospital for every vehicle sold in December. No games, just deals at Group 1 Ford of South Austin. Visit us on South I-35 or online at Group1FordofSouthAustin.com. F-150 example, MSRP $83,125 before discounts. 0% for well-qualified buyers with approved credit. See dealer for details.
Coach Sark here. Back to the Craig Way Show on your home for the Longhorns, 1300 The Zone.
Okay, just getting started here on the Craig Way Show. And as always, we've got the text line available for you. You can text the word Texas, followed by your question or comment to 81530. Coming up, we'll hear from Michael Taaffe. Great conversation with our friend Chris Gordy, locked on SEC. Some thoughts on what's next for Mookie, kind of his approach to NIL, his thoughts on the 2025 season. Taaffe will not play in the upcoming Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, but likely to see him in the Senior Bowl coming up. We've got much more from Steve Sarkisian talking about the decision to go away from Pete Kwiatkowski and Dwayne Aquina, bring in Will Muschamp to run the Longhorn defense next season, plus soundbites from Longhorns basketball forward Cam Heide, and a visit with Craig Way. That's all coming up right here on Sports Radio AM 1300, The Zone. Our Friday show continues.
Busiest time of the year? It's here. You've got parties to go to, work to wrap up, and a house to decorate. But who has the time? With AirTasker, finding help is easy. Post your task, set your budget, and let local taskers handle the rest. Party planning? Done. Lights? Hung. Stress? Reduced. You can even get someone to build a gingerbread house that doesn't collapse this time. Download the AirTasker app or go to airtasker.com for a season with less stress, less mess, and a lot more fun. AirTasker. Get anything done.
Get your mother-loving ears on because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on. You hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at paypal.com.
Let's be real, Texas. Round here, egg salad isn't egg salad unless it's made with Miracle Whip. You know it, your neighbors know it. Heck, everyone from Amarillo to Brownsville knows it. That tangy zip of Miracle Whip doesn't just jazz up bland dishes. It's the reason you never have leftover egg salad. So here's to you for keeping it bold, keeping it zippy, and keeping Miracle Whip right where it belongs. In all your favorite recipes. Buy Miracle Whip at your local grocery store and get your tang on, Texas.
Our country is held together by small businesses. That's a fact. It's also a fact that 9 out of 10 of those small businesses will fail. Why? Because it's hard, really, really hard to build a profitable business from the ground up today. Pure Talk knows that. They started as a small American wireless company determined to keep their customer service in this country. It worked. And today, Pure Talk is determined to help other small businesses prosper by offering them the same white glove service the big guys get. Same service, same 5G network at a truly affordable price. Pure Talk is focused on businesses that employ welders and roofers, electricians, plumbers, HVAC techs, the people who keep the lights on. If that sounds like your business, give Pure Talk Business a try and see just how much you could save. Dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who understands the power of small business. Pure Talk.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-616-1997. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-616-1997. That's 800-616-1997. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Many of our U.S. veterans and service members face challenges. At the Bob Woodward Foundation, we invest in solutions to help support them in the next chapter of their lives. Learn more about our work at bobwoodwardfoundation.org/success.
From the Audio-Visual Consultation Studios, Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, KDET AM Austin, your home for the Horns, and the #1 preset in your car and on the free iHeartRadio app. He's a Texas legend, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, the voice of the Texas Longhorns, and your host of the Craig Way Show. Here he is now, Craig Way.
All right, hour number 2 on the program. Jake Herman with you until 5 p.m. today. In for Craig Way. We'll catch up with Craig at the top of the 4 o'clock hour, schedule permitting, from Arlington next. Want to get you a quick story coming out of Austin this morning, and that is Inside Texas reporting that Arch Manning has agreed to a reduced compensation amount from Texas's rev share pool. Remember, part of the House settlement brings some of the NIL money out into the open now, and Arch Manning agreeing to a reduced compensation. It doesn't affect what he can make out on the market, right? You've seen Arch in all those commercials with Warby Parker, Waymo, and Viore, and several other big companies. That's true for a lot of high-profile athletes, especially one like Arch. This is a smaller share of what Texas football has from the $20.5 million revenue-sharing cap that is permitted for them under the House settlement. It's worth pointing out Arch Manning kind of uniquely positioned given his somewhat celebrity status that comes with both being a Manning and what he's done on the field, what he's done so far at Texas. That certainly has a part in Arch being able to make this decision. Not every player is going to be in a position to do the same thing, but nonetheless, a move that I think shows a team-first attitude and can really help Texas go out and get potentially other players in the portal that they might not have been able to under the revenue sharing total had Arch Manning taken a bigger share. So interesting story to point out there. So from one number 16 to another, Michael Taaffe joined our colleague from Houston, Chris Gordy, on his Locked On SEC podcast. Really interesting conversation. Want to let you guys listen in. I think you'll really enjoy his outlook on his Texas career and reflections on a senior season.
Joining us now, starting safety for the Texas Longhorns. He is a member of the 2025 All-State AFCA Good Works team. He's the winner of the 2025 All-State Werfel Trophy. He is Michael Taaffe. Michael, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Appreciate y'all having me on.
I guess first off, man, congrats on an incredible college career, going from walk-on to All-American. I know you announced, this week you're heading off to the NFL draft. Does it feel like these 5 years just flew by for you?
Yeah, I always kind of called their bluff when the seniors would get up and talk, and I was a freshman or a sophomore, and they're like, hey, man, just embrace it. These 4 or 5 years, they go by so quick. You blink your eyes, and you're standing up here, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm in the middle of off-season workouts. We're getting our butts whooped, and yeah, I don't know how quick this is going to go by, but I'm standing up here, and I can truly, firmly say that, man, I wish I could go do it all over again.
You had a unique perspective of getting to play a couple years in the Big 12 and then the past 2 seasons in the SEC. Was there a real big difference for you from going from the Big 12 to the SEC, just the physicality and the grind of basically you're getting everybody's best shot every week in the SEC?
Yeah, I think 2 different playing styles. I don't want to knock the Big 12 because I was a lot more conditioned in the Big 12. You got to it's fastball all the time. They're trying to snap the ball really quick, and they're spreading everybody out and trying to get their fast guys in space and make some DBs miss. And next thing you know, it's an explosive play. But I think in the SEC, your body takes hits every single week that I've never experienced before, and it was really, really cool. I think being in the SEC, it made me realize real down south football, and it was really cool. And your body feels it every single Sunday morning for sure when you play in the SEC and there's no game off. I remember when we stepped into the SEC, what was that, 2 years ago? They're like, all right, everybody's going to play y'all really, really tight, except Vanderbilt. That's kind of like a bye week. And Vanderbilt's the last 2 years has probably been one of our tougher games both years. So you no longer can say Vanderbilt's a bye week.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about award season, everybody all being honored. I think it says something that Diego Pavia was the Heisman finalist, the representative from the SEC. I mean, that dude, I've talked to several players around the league going, thank God his eligibility's over because he was just a tough out, man, right?
Yeah, he was a really good player. I have a lot of respect for him, and I got the chance to get to talk to him in New York City this weekend. And, man, he's a special guy. He's confident in himself, but I think that's why he's gone so far.
I think both times y'all played them, y'all were in control of the game, and then like if there was like another 2 minutes left both years, it'd be like, oh, that might have gotten hairy. So luckily you guys went 2-0 against them. But it is interesting though. I mean, was there a moment in SEC play, like a player that you hit and went, oh, that's different?
Yeah, I think the Florida running back number 13 was really good, and then the Arkansas running back number 4. He was really good. He got the best of me this year. So much respect to both those guys.
We're talking with Michael Taaffe, of course, from the Texas Longhorns. I know you're a big advocate of giving back and working in your community, and that's why you won the All-State Werfel Trophy, and you were named a captain of the All-State AFCA Good Works team. Give us a little perspective on the work that you've done, obviously, with Texas against fentanyl, and as well as the relief efforts over there at Camp Mystic following those floods in Texas.
Yeah, well, first, my best buddy passed away to fentanyl poisoning in 2021. And so whenever I had an opportunity to come back this year and I knew my platform was going to be bigger than it's ever been, I was just thinking to myself, how can I make this bigger than myself? And obviously I have a lot of passion and fentanyl awareness because that's where my heart is hurting at. And so, it was an easy ability to talk about fentanyl awareness because I'm so passionate about it. And so, we raised, I think, a little over $60,000 for fentanyl awareness, and that was way over our goal. So super proud about that. And then the Texas floods and 4th of July weekend, those were, 25 miles away from where I grew up in Westlake. So I think just knowing that there were so many people that I knew that was at Camp Mystic and people that knew those girls that passed away. And I just wanted to have an opportunity to give back to remember those girls and to try to make a difference.
It's one thing when you're a 5-star athlete and you're, everybody's All-American and all this, but to come from where you were as a walk-on, and because I think you were originally going to go to Rice and then you came to Texas as a walk-on. I mean, you have to almost appreciate it that much more and the want to give back when you get that larger platform, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because I was definitely that kid when I was 6 years old, looking up to the guys running out in the burnt orange and DKR and just a glove or anything. It's probably still in my house and my parents' house. So I was that guy. So I always knew whenever it was, hey, can you sign this for Christmas or can you send a quick video? It's always a yes for me because I knew I was that guy at one point, and these cheers are going to turn echoes quick, and nobody's going to care about Michael Taaffe. They're going to care about the new starting safety All-American. So whenever I have this opportunity, I would love to do it.
We get to talk with Danny Werfel a couple times throughout the year, and obviously it's tremendous work, with the All-State Good Works team and obviously the All-State Werfel Trophy. But you're now the second Longhorn to win the award. Have you heard from Sam Acho? Because Sam always brags about winning this award. Have you heard from Sam yet?
Yeah, he was actually the one that surprised me that I won it. So it was really cool to get to see him the day that I won it and just talk to him about it. And I've had so much respect for Sam Acho, even growing up. He came to our Bible study, I think that was in 7th grade, and spoke to us, and then came back when we were in high school and junior year of high school and spoke to us about the freedom of the cross. And so he's a super awesome guy. I'm very blessed to be in a family with Sam Acho.
Yeah, he and Tim Tebow and so many other great winners of this award throughout the years, and just generally good dudes, like dudes, not just great football players, but dudes who mean well and want to do well for the world. A few more football questions for you, Michael. Kind of a cherry on the top of your college career. Your last football game played will be beating the Aggies, their first loss of the season in Austin. I got to think that one means a little bit more to you, right?
Yeah, you definitely play a little bit. You always have passion, but you definitely play with a little bit more passion when you play the Sooners or the Aggies. And to be in DKR, the last home game against one of our biggest rivals, and to get an interception in your second to last play ever putting on the burnt orange was super special. It was definitely, a great end to this fairy tale story that I'm living.
It's obviously, I guess it was frustrating hearing that, you guys weren't going to go into the playoff, but man, I mean, you look back at the season that you guys had. I mean, look, people were burying Texas by midseason. Oh, these guys, couple losses, they're done, but you guys didn't quit. I mean, I guess you'll look back on this season and say that's the most important thing about this year, right?
Yeah, I think As hard as it is to say, because I won't be on the team next year, I'm confident to say that this year shaped who next year is going to be. I think we had to go through a lot of adversity because, this program's been through a lot of success the last 3 years. So I think we had to go through a little bit of adversity. We had a bunch of young guys on the team. So I think it was good for Arch. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country next year, and I'm confident to say that. And it's not pressure for him because he already puts a lot of pressure on himself. He wants to be great, and I think with him, getting a year under his belt to learn, to experience loss and to experience success, I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about him. Obviously, his dad already came out and said, yes, he's not going anywhere. He's going to be back next year. And obviously that's going to generate a lot of excitement and hype for the Longhorns for next year. But look, when you have a name like Manning, it's going to garner a lot of hype and attention. But it seems like Arch behind the scenes, just a normal dude, very humble, very respectful and all that. Give us a little insider perspective what it was like with Arch behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's great. He's always the guy texting about, hey, you want to go get in the cold tub late at night? Do you want to go get in the sauna to help us sleep? Do you want to go get an extra throwing session just so I can work on this little throw? Or, hey, I just watched this video of me throwing. Let me go adjust this really quick. So he's one. I think the biggest thing for me that helped me get to where I'm at is consistency. And I think he embodies that really well. It's not so much he has a routine of what he's doing every day. He's consistent at doing something every single day.
Yeah, look, if anything I know about Sark is missing the playoffs this year, it's going to motivate him to make the changes necessary to get back there next year. I know that about Coach Sark. One other thought here, Michael, your former quarterback Quinn Ewers was announced he's going to get an NFL start this week. And how excited are you guys for him?
Man, I'm stoked for him. He deserves it. He's gone through a lot in his career, and I feel like it's been like this his whole career. And what's the coolest thing about him is up here and in here, he's been like this. And that's who he is. That's a guy that I love to play behind. And it was so fun watching him lead our team. And man, so happy for him to get his opportunity to go shine.
You got the best of him in high school, though, right? You picked him off a couple times.
I've reminded him a time or two about it, so it was fun.
We're talking with Michael Taaffe. When you look back on it, Michael, what's going to be your favorite moment from your college career?
Yeah, I think watching that video a couple of times. It was actually 3 years ago yesterday that I got put on scholarship, but not Coach Sark announcing it, but seeing all my teammates around me, just putting it in slow-mo, seeing all the faces that are turning around, hands in the air, smiles from grin to grin. So I think it's so cool to have an experience like that where all your teammates can reflect about how proud they are of you.
Well, Michael, congrats on a great college career, man, and congrats on all the accolades. You don't play for the accolades, but it's a really cool thing to get at the end of the year. And obviously winning the All-State Werfel Trophy, a great accomplishment in itself, and then being named not just to the All-State AFCA Good Works team, but being named a captain is also a tremendous honor. Congrats on all the success, man, and best of luck at the next level, okay?
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you.
All right, great conversation there, and appreciate Chris Gordy for sharing it. Michael Taaffe talking about the improvement in Vanderbilt, the differences from the SEC to playing in the Big 12, some of the running backs that impressed him this year, mentioning Jaden Baugh by name. Remember, he was over at Florida being coached by the now Texas Longhorn running back coach Jabbar Jalouk, as well as Mike Washington Jr. at Arkansas. Some of the work he's done off the field, honoring Jake Ellinger by raising awareness, the fight against fentanyl poisoning, and then his relationship with Arch Manning in there as well. You heard him mention Quinn Ewers, who will be getting the start for the Miami Dolphins. We'll hear a little bit from the Dolphins staff and what they've seen from Quinn Ewers in practice. You'll also hear Coach Sark discuss his excitement to watch Ewers play and much, much more coming up here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone.
The Texas Longhorns are bowling in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl New Year's Eve against the Michigan Wolverines. Twin Peaks Round Rock has all your game day action. Come out for Longhorns game day beginning at 11 a.m. Join me, Cameron Parker, alongside Mike Hardball Harge and Mark Henry as we break down Texas versus Michigan with special guests and insiders. And then stick around for kickoff. Great food, cold beer, and that burnt orange energy. We'll see you there. Book 'em.
It's the game's final seconds, and the score is tied. But wait, another trip to the bathroom?
Don't miss the game's best moments because of frequent bathroom breaks. Introducing prostate artery embolization from ARA Diagnostic Imaging, a leader in PAE, a non-surgical treatment for enlarged prostate that helps reduce urgent urination with low risk of sexual side effects. Visit osrad.com/PAE to take a quick self-assessment. ARA, leaders in medical imaging.
Get your mother-loving ears on because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at paypal.com.
Coming soon, a dedicated express connection between Austin and Cedar Park with the opening of the 183 express lanes. With limited entrances and exits, these lanes are designed for a reliable, uninterrupted drive for travelers. Slow down and watch for new entrance and exit opportunities as you familiarize yourself with the route, getting you where you need to go when you need it most. See how it all works at 183north.com.
Hey Texans, ready to kick off the new year with something fresh? My Plates has a stunning range of premium embossed license plates. Check out the sleek carbon fiber embossed look or the nostalgic black and white embossed plates reminiscent of the iconic Texas plates from the 1960s. These new embossed designs come in other colors too, from black and gold to black and yellow and Lone Star Badge black. Customize your ride with up to 7 letters and feel the embossed difference. Visit myplates.com to order yours today.
The world's best are chasing gold. Get inside the action and support the team. Join Insider, the official U.S. ski and snowboard fan loyalty program for exclusive perks. Visit insider.usskiandsnowboard.org to join today.
Make money predicting boxing, politics, culture, and more legally nationwide with Kalshi. From sports to Bitcoin, the Oscars, and even politics, if it matters, you can trade on it. Will Jake Paul pull up the upset? Paul is trading at 14% to beat Anthony Joshua. This means if you put 100 down, you get $715 back if he wins. And for a limited time, use code IHEART and get $20 when you trade 100. KALSHI.com. Trade involves risk. Kalshi.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon. Hello? You won't believe where I am. Are you running? Mile 26. I'm going to make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture. And then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
10 athletes will face the toughest job interview in fitness that will push past physical and mental breaking points. You are the fittest of the fit. Only one of you will leave here with an iFit contract for $250,000.
This is when mindset comes in.
Someone will be eliminated.
Pressure is coming down.
Trainer Games on Prime Video January 8th. Watch the trailer on trainergames.com.
At Henna Chevrolet, the price you see is the price you get. Like a 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT with $15,000 off MSRP. No required dealer accessories when you arrive. No market adjustments. And we have over 40 lenders competing for your business. And when banks compete, you save. That's why Henna is Austin's favorite Chevy dealership. For a lower price made easy. Together, let's drive at Henna Chevrolet or Henna.com.
Longhorns baseball plays here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. It's the Craig Way Show with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
Not many bigger fans of Billy Joel than the voice of the Longhorns, Craig Way. We'll hear from him at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. This is Miami 2017. Seen the lights go out on Broadway from Billy Joel's album Turnstiles, released back in 1976. And why Miami? Former Longhorn Quinn Ewers named the starter earlier this week. We covered that on the show. Heard some comments from Mike McDaniel about it. Here's what he had to say today, the Dolphins head coach, about Ewers in his first practice now as the starter, replacing Tua Tagovailoa.
And why, we made the move that way, because I saw him. It wasn't perfect, but the competitive response and the conviction at the position after anything would go awry. That's what I really like about him, and that's what he showed off. I think yesterday in particular, there were a lot of plays that he was able to make both on third down and first and second down. And, I think, it's more about I saw the team really respond and derive energy from, what he was doing at the quarterback position.
Here's offensive coordinator Frank Smith now with his thoughts on Quinn Ewers. What has he observed from Quinn in practice, and what does he expect to see from him this week?
He is a quietly confident guy. He's got a good, easygoing disposition, but he's super competitive, and he, in the moment of each play, he's gonna be aggressive, and he has fun doing it. So it's one of those where after I'm not surprised, guys could go to college and then a big time recruit comes in and all that. You could say, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to go someplace else. And I'm not surprised at all. He stayed and was like, all right, let's compete and let's bring out the best in each other.
Ewers will start for the Dolphins when they take on the Cincinnati Bengals. One person who might be tuning in with some extra attention towards that is Longhorns head coach Steve Sarkisian, who was asked by Roger Wallace from the Longhorn Radio Network and KXAN what it will be like to watch Quinn play on Sunday. And remember, Sark coached Tua at Alabama too. So interesting answer here from the Longhorns head football coach.
I'm excited for him. I've said this after the draft. I don't know if I said it to y'all. Again, once you don't go in the first round or early in the second round, it's kind of like you hope you go to a good place and a good system that fits you, especially at quarterback. And I said this coming out of the draft. I don't know if there was a better fit for Quinn than going to Miami with Mike McDaniel. Systematically, the way he calls it and how it relates to what he did here, the style in which the ball gets out of the quarterback's hands. I just think it's a good fit for Quinn. Obviously, he's been doing some really good things behind the scenes in practice and things. So looking forward to his opportunity on Sunday to get his first career start. I'm sure he'll do some really good things, and they'll probably do some things that look like a guy making his first NFL start, But I know he's excited. It's a little bittersweet because I had Tua as well, and so both those guys working together. I know they have a great relationship, but what a great opportunity for Quinn. And I think it just serves to – it's not always about when you get drafted. It's what you do with your opportunity. And a credit to Quinn of working his tail off to earn this opportunity to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Remember, that start will come, by the way, at noon on Sunday. The Dolphins host the Cincinnati Bengals. We've got 2 NFL games on Saturday for you. The Eagles and Commanders will play in Washington at 4 o'clock. And then the Packers go to Chicago to take on the Bears, a battle for the division lead in the AFC North, and a rematch from what we saw 2 weeks ago. Remember, Chicago in Green Bay driving late with a chance to win it. Caleb Williams threw an interception in the closing moments of that ball game. So the Bears look for revenge. It's going to be very, very cold at Soldier Field. And the Packers will play their first game without Micah Parsons in this one. So that is the Saturday night game. That's part of the reason you notice, right, that the two most, let's just call it like it is, the two likely most entertaining college football playoff games are going to be played in two different windows. Tonight, Alabama at Oklahoma, and then tomorrow at 11 a.m., Miami takes on Texas A&M at Kyle Field. So that means that the primetime games for a college football playoff, the Saturday afternoon slot at 2:30, the 6:30 slot, are going to be the two games featuring G5 teams, number 6 Ole Miss against number 11 Tulane, and number 5 Oregon, and number 12 James Madison. This is, I think, some politics in play. ESPN not wanting to compete with those NFL offerings, and as a result, kind of the less desirable from a neutral perspective of the first round college football playoff games, the two games where the spread indicates a 3-score margin in terms of the favorite. Of course, you can never quite just go off of the spread, never quite expect one thing to happen. But that's why you see A&M and Miami at the 11 a.m. window, and then the matchup tonight between Alabama and Oklahoma at 7 o'clock on Friday, prime time. One interesting note to get to, a key to the game on Alabama and Oklahoma tonight, and that is this, the field position. It was a huge factor in why Alabama lost despite outgaining Oklahoma 406 to 212 the last time these two teams met. Clint Lamb from Cover Crimson tracked the scoring drives in the last 3 SEC games for both schools. Alabama has had to rely on long, sustained scoring drives. Well, it's an asset when you can actually go down the field and convert those. Oklahoma, and not only that, Alabama's been largely pretty efficient in the red zone. They're 7 of their last 9 of those extended drives have ended in touchdowns. For Oklahoma, they have not had a lot of drives that are both sustained in terms of time of possession and lengthy in terms of yards. And their long drives, they're only, matter of fact, there are only 2 drives that were longer than 55 yards, lasted a total of 6 plays. A 3-play 90-yard drive, a 3-play 84-yard drive. So those are the explosive plays. The touchdown late to get them off the hook against Missouri. The touchdown late to bring them back from behind a fourth-quarter deficit against LSU. The 2 season-saving busted coverage touchdowns thrown by John Mateer. Other than that, Oklahoma's drives have either been taking advantage of short fields and scoring with 35 yards or less in front of them, or settling for field goals. So the key tonight for Alabama, got to make Oklahoma go the length of the field consistently. It's easier said than done, especially the way this Oklahoma defense and outstanding special teams can control the field position. But in addition to the turnover battle, the field position battle is going to be one that Alabama will have to win tonight in order to get the first, well, it would be the first true road win in the history of the college football playoff. I know a lot of Longhorn fans are likely begrudgingly rooting for Alabama tonight. We'll hear a little more from head coach Steve Sarkisian on the hiring of Will Muschamp right after this on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone.
Craig Way here, and as busy as my schedule is, promoting my heart health is something I take seriously, and that's why I've been using SuperBeets Heart Chews from Human. If Human sounds familiar, it's because they were actually founded right here in Austin at the University of Texas. You've probably seen their logo on the football field this season. It's Human with 2 N's. SuperBeets Heart Chews have clinically studied ingredients shown to promote healthy blood pressure, nearly 2 times more effective than diet and exercise alone, thanks to their unique grapeseed extract. They're tasty, easy to take, and I've really felt a difference since I started using them. They're also the #1 cardiologist recommended beet brand for heart health support. Right now, there's a special offer, and it even comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee, so it's easy to try SuperBeets Heart Chews. You get an exclusive 20% discount. Just go to human.com/Craig. That's Human with 2 N's. Enter the code Craig at checkout to get an extra 20% off your first order. That's human.com/Craig.
This isn't just a game, it's a once-in-a-generation event. The Harlem Globetrotters 100-year tour. Celebrate 100 years of high-flying dunks, 100 years of show-stopping moves, and 100 years of changing the game. Bring the whole family and be part of a legacy that never stops. The Harlem Globetrotters 100-year tour. Get your tickets today at harlemglobetrotters.com.
Hosting game day but fumbling the shopping list? Good news, Specs has the perfect play. Ice-cold beer in the backfield, bold bourbon out wide, and savory snacks going deep. No need for a Hail Mary. Specs has you covered with a legendary selection and prices so low, your wallet will do the end zone dance. So before kickoff, be the MVP. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating.
Keep celebrating when you bundle and save with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-616-1997. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-616-1997. That's 800-616-1997. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Get your mother-loving ears on because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at paypal.com.
Heating and air and plumbing. Call us because we care. American Standard Air.
Chris and Kyle here. We're Elite AC and Plumbing, the local guys. Unexpected plumbing problems can be a hassle. From running toilets, clogged pipes, to new water heaters and water softeners. We've got you covered. Give us a call for your commercial and residential needs.
American Standard Air. Elite Heating and Air and Plumbing. Call us because we care.
Research shows that teens who struggle with their mental health are more likely to use drugs and alcohol. An open and honest conversation can reduce their risk. Get tips to get real at cdc.gov/freemind/parents.
AM 1300 The Zone occasionally holds contests. For more information about contests on this station, go to am1300thezone.com/rules.
We all use AI, but here, it never pretends it's real. AM 1300 The Zone. Guaranteed human. Welcome back to the Craig Way Show and the voice of the Longhorns, Craig Way. Follow Craig on social media at Horn Voice.
Step outside, summertime's in bloom. Stand up beside the fireplace. Take that look from off your face. You ain't ever gonna burn my heart out. So Sally can wait.
Yeah, this one never gets old, does it? Oasis. Don't look back in anger on a Friday afternoon. Maybe this directed at Longhorns head coach Steve Sarkisian as he looks back on the 2025 football season. Maybe directed at the way he was asked to look back on his relationship with Will Muschamp. How far back do they go? And how will the defense look different after Sark looked back at this season? All questions that Sark was asked today at his press conference. We'll hear a little more from that here now. He was asked, where did the relationship with Will Muschamp start for Steve Sarkisian? And kind of, I think it was Cedric Golden that asked this question of the Austin American-Statesman. Did the struggles against Georgia play any kind of a role in this decision by Steve Sarkisian to make a change and bring in Kirby Smart's longtime co-defensive coordinator and now defensive analyst over the last couple seasons? Did that play a role at all in Sark's decision to move on from Pete Kwiatkowski, despite this Texas defense finishing top 25 in terms of scoring defense each of the last 4 seasons?
I've always admired Will from afar, and I know that even in my time at Alabama, I could hear the respect that Coach Saban had for Will, and obviously their history going all the way back to their days at LSU. And so, you know, we actually played South Carolina in I think it was 2019. And even going into that game, I always know when Coach Saban really respects somebody. I can hear it in his voice. I can hear it in his preparation. And so I don't respect anybody more than Nick Saban in our profession and as a mentor. And so that played a key role, obviously. You know, there's always some people can call them unintended consequences, and consequences doesn't always mean bad. Consequences can be good too. And one of the unintended consequences of this is we do get a little intel into the Georgia theme. Now, I think we're going to probably play some of those themes of which they play defensive football too. And so it's not only about, well, how do you beat Georgia? Well, the reality is we're going to get to go against that a lot more in practice, whether you want to call it spring football practice, training camp, summer, whatever that looks like, all of our good on good sessions. So can that help us down the road? Hopefully that is one of the unintended consequences. That wasn't the main theme. The main theme was how do we get somebody in here that's going to play our brand, our style of my thinking of how we want to play defensive football, get a guy over there that can really be the head coach on defense and lead these guys and get them to play with the intent, the passion, the physicality that I'm looking for on a weekly basis. But the unintended consequence of all that is, man, I get to go against that every day. Our offense gets to go against that style and that scheme of defense every day, which hopefully down the road can benefit us, you know, if and when we play Georgia again, or that same system, that same family of defense that falls from.
So there's that line again from Sark, right? The head coach of the defense. That's what he's looking for in Will Muschamp. What about from a style standpoint? The aggressive nature of Will Muschamp's defenses, and like Sark was talking about, that family of defenses under, you know, Kirby Smart's kind of tutelage there. And of course, Will Muschamp had that style of defense back when he was in Austin from 2008 to 2010. But Texas was known, right, as DBU, all that press man coverage, not necessarily the same style of defense we saw from Pete Kwiatkowski this year, with a lot of guys playing off coverage, which hurt the Longhorns at times late, particularly in that Vanderbilt game. So is the aggressive style we saw from Will Muschamp at his other stops and at Texas previously the style that Texas fans can maybe expect going forward?
Well, I think that in our conference, the more you evaluate this league and the more you look at, you know, if you really want to have elite success, you got to play a little bit more in your face. The line of scrimmage is so physical, and the idea that you're going to have to add hats to that box. The quarterback play is at a high level, and you've got elite players on the perimeter that if you're giving up free access type throws, it can get hard. And now you start getting taxed in different ways. And so if we can minimize the run game with a level of physicality at the line of scrimmage and minimize the free access throws and making people earn it and making quarterbacks hold the ball and affecting the quarterback is something that you're going to have to do to beat the upper echelon teams in our league and do it on a consistent basis was something that was attractive to me. You know, I do think there's a mentality you have to have in playing defense in this league. And we did it at a high level. Don't get me wrong. We did it at a very high level, and a credit to all those guys that done it. But I think to get to where we want to go, and to beat some of those, those top 4 or 5 teams in the country right now, there's a style of which that you have to play, and you have to do it against the best. It's not about doing it against kind of the teams down here. It's those upper echelon teams. And I think we've recruited well, and we're going to try to continue to recruit at a high level. And we've got our own gaps and things that we're going to try to fill in through the portal, and try to get the personnel to really fit what Will's looking for. But I do think there's a style that I believe in, that I've grown up understanding, that is needed to beat some of these upper echelon teams and to do it at a high level.
Oh, and clearly Sark feels that Texas was not playing that style to his liking against some of the top teams like the Georgias, like Ohio State, that Texas has suffered the majority of its losses to over the last couple of seasons. So schematically, how will the defense look different? He was asked to follow up on that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to look so dramatically different. You know, we've got some body types that I think fit, what fit his style and scheme. I think like Collins a great fit for what he's looking for at his buck to rush the passer. I think Lance Jackson, Zena, those guys are great fits at that field side, strong side end. I do think the athleticism in the secondary, the interchangeable parts, the length that we have back there. And, I'm so glad that to see the progression of Cade Phillips, Kobe Black, and Xavier, and obviously Jelani and some of those faces. And I don't mean to leave guys out, but I just know the style in which we want to play to fit the structure that he has. I think we have a lot of pieces in place. Now, there'll probably be a few things that we need to shore up, but we've got a lot of good pieces and a lot of good parts and a lot of good looking football players that are smart, that are competitive, that I think will adapt quickly to his structure. But there naturally will be a transition time that's going to take place. And again, that's why we're not trying to do that now. Right. We'll do that in winter conditioning. We'll do that in spring ball. We'll do it over the summer. We'll do it in training camp. And I have no doubt, Will, with that defensive staff, will have our guys ready to go by next.
And later you'll hear Sark talk about the timing of all of this and the challenges that the calendar placed on Texas in this sense. So given the fact that Dwayne Aquino was also not retained in this coaching switch, was there frustration from Steve Sarkisian about some of the miscommunications that plagued Texas on the back end?
And always in all 3 phases of our team, offense, defense, special teams, I saw issues that were issues that we fixed. There were issues that we didn't fix that kept rearing their ugly head. And it was uncommon for us for the amount of, explosive pass plays that we had given up, especially in the second half of the season. And so that was an area we were going to have to fix regardless, right? Whether we made changes or didn't, that was going to be something that had a spotlight on it. And this has got to shore up. This was the direction I chose to go in to try to shore some of that stuff up. And so, I feel good about that we were able to identify issues in our organization, and we've attacked some of them through changes. We've attacked some of them on the field. We've attacked some of them with personnel. So there's a variety of ways to fix things as they come across your plate. That just happened to be one of which we did.
So is Muschamp also going to coach any specific position when he does assume his coaching role with the Longhorns? Remember, Muschamp is already in Austin, but he will just be observing rather than coaching and calling the defense during the upcoming Citrus Bowl.
He'll work with the secondary to start. I think getting that continuity in the back end is important in any defense, but obviously with Will's, and his history has been working with the safeties and working with the back end, and obviously that's what he was working with at Georgia. And so tying that together, I think what people don't know is Coach Orfe was a GA for Will at South Carolina. So there's already some commonality there with those 2 guys in the back end. And I think he feels good about what we have with our coaching staff up front, with Johnny, Kenny, and LA. So, we feel good about him starting working with those guys back there, but overall it'll be his defense.
Okay, we'll hear more from Steve Sarkisian a little bit later on in the show. We need a break. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, we'll visit with Craig Way live from Arlington and discuss much more about this Texas coaching switch. You're listening right here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone.
Hey there, Texas fans. This is the voice of the Longhorns, Craig Way, inviting you to join us for Longhorn football. We'll bring you all of the action all season long, including in-depth analysis and exclusive access to players and coaches before the opening kick and after the final whistle. And every week, we'll talk with Texas Longhorns head coach Steve Sarkisian on Longhorn Weekly. This is your exclusive source for Texas Longhorn football, the Longhorn Radio Network from Learfield.
New Year's Eve, the Longhorns square off against Michigan in the Citrus Bowl. Our coverage begins at 1 o'clock.
10 athletes will face the toughest job interview in fitness that will push past physical and mental breaking points. Only one will leave with an iFit contract worth $250,000. Trainer Games on Prime Video January 8th. Watch the trailer on trainergames.com. The world needs Sesame Street. And right now, Sesame needs you. Donate today at sesame.org/iHeart. That's SESAME.org/iHeart.
Elmo loves you. Thanks for making a difference. This winter, the world will be watching the best skaters chase their Olympic dreams. For your child, that dream could start right here at your local rink. Through Learn to Skate USA, kids build strength, confidence, and courage, the same qualities that take athletes to the Olympic ice. Learn to Skate USA offers programs for skaters of all ages and abilities. This is where the journey begins. Find a program near you at learntosskateusa.com, because every champion starts with a first glide.
Every now and then I rinse it out, and I need Downy Rinse tonight, and I need it more. My kid was the bed and the smell never leaves. I don't know what to do, I'm always in the dark. The sweat and dead short smells like a dog park. Downy Rinse it tonight.
Downy Rinse fights stubborn odors in just one wash. When impossible odors get stuck in,
Rinse it out.
Meet Lisa, a mom who starts the holidays full of cheer until the to-do list takes over. Untangling lights, prepping for the class party, wrapping gifts. She was running out of time and energy. Then Lisa discovered AirTasker. She posted her tasks, set her budget, and local taskers helped with everything. Lights strung, cupcakes baked, gifts wrapped, even a cardboard sleigh for the school play. Suddenly, her holiday spirit was back. Now she spends less time scrambling and more time making memories. Download the AirTasker app or go to airtasker.com. AirTasker. Get anything done.
Get your mother-loving ears on, because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at paypal.com.
If you've been diagnosed with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, this is what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Imagine being a million miles away. Tremfya Guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy. With Tremfya, clearer skin is possible. In clinical trials, at least 70% of patients saw at least 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks. Results may vary. Tremfya is also indicated for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Call 1-800-526-7736 or visit tremfya.com.
Now you don't just hear it, you see it. iHeartRadio Highlights brings you the best show moments, the wild takes, hot reactions, and clips everybody's talking about. Search Fox Sports Radio in the iHeartRadio app to experience Fox Sports like never before.
Furnished by Genuine. The deals you've been waiting for are at Group 1 Ford of South Austin, home of transparent pricing and no dealer add-ons. Lease a new Ford Mustang or Bronco Sport, your choice, just $339 a month for 36 months. Plus, we'll donate $100 to St. Jude Children's Hospital for every vehicle sold in December. No games, just deals. us at Group 1 Ford of South Austin. Visit us on I-35 or online at group1fordofsouthaustin.com. Mustang example, MSRP $34,580. Bronco Sport MSRP $42,205 before discounts. For well-qualified buyers with approved credit. First payment due at signing. See dealer for details.
Hey, Texas football fans. Mike Harch here. Thomas J. Henry Law is thrilled to be part of the action with Texas football game broadcasts. Just like the athletes give it their all on the field, Thomas J. Henry and over 250 attorneys give it their all when it comes to helping you and your family get the justice you deserve. Whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, dedication, strategy, and teamwork are crucial. For over 30 years, Thomas J. Henry Law has been committed to securing meaningful results for the injured people and their families. Visit tjhlaw.com or call 24/7 to get the help you need for you and your loved ones.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, your home for the Texas Longhorns.
Okay, as we wind down the second hour of the program, we're getting ready to talk to Craig Way live at Arlington in just a few minutes coming up. Wanted to get you a look at the rest of this weekend's slate of NFL football. The Dallas Cowboys will take on the LA Chargers at noon on Sunday. It's a must-win game for the Cowboys, whose playoff hopes are all but shot at this point. The Houston Texans will be hosting the Las Vegas Raiders at 3:25 on Sunday afternoon. Remember, you can hear that on AM 1300, The Zone. Well, actually, you won't hear that because Texas women's basketball has a matchup with South Dakota State at 1 o'clock. That will be up in Brookings. The Texas women look to make it 14-0. Other big matchups with playoff implications, the Bucs and Panthers will do battle at noon on Sunday. Both teams sitting at 7-7. And the winner of that game will control its own destiny going forward in the NFC South. The Chiefs and Titans, Jets and Saints, and Vikings, Giants will square off. In addition to that Bengal-Dolphin game we mentioned earlier, all those games at noon. The Bills are also in Cleveland. I heard the soundbite from Josh Allen yesterday, hoping to delay Myles Garrett's pursuit of the NFL sacks record, with which is currently shared by Michael Strahan and TJ Watt. Myles Garrett needs 1.5 sacks in these last few weeks to claim his spot in NFL history. Some folks are saying that he should get more MVP love, but you're just not going to see an NFL MVP for a team that is 3-11. The late afternoon window, the Falcons getting Drake London back for their trip to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. The Jags and Broncos, big-time matchup in Denver. The Broncos' 11-game winning streak put to the test against the Jags, who have won 5 in a row since losing that late lead to the Texans last month. The Steelers and Lions, big inter-conference matchup there. Both teams are 8-6. Both teams need the win to avoid being put on the outside looking in. That's where the Lions are at the moment, needing a little bit of help to move up through the ranks. They're probably hoping for a Chicago Bear win over the Green Bay Packers in a game that's played on Saturday night if the Lions don't want to get boxed out of that third wild card. Because remember, you got the 2 NFC West teams right now, the Rams and 49ers taking those spots as Seattle took the division lead last night. The Sunday night football game is Patriots at Ravens. Actually, one of the higher totals on the board this week if you're looking from an over-under perspective. 2 teams that have really struggled to defend the pass, and 2 quarterbacks who can light it up on any given night. Drake May and his 71% completions coming off a tough loss to the Buffalo Bills, a game the Patriots had a 21-point lead in and then lost. Can New England bounce back against the 7-7 Baltimore Ravens, whose playoff hopes are very much in jeopardy should they lose this one to New England? If the Patriots beat the Ravens and the Steelers beat the Lions, then that would all but close the Baltimore Ravens out of the 2025 NFL playoff picture. That's not a result that a lot of people would have seen coming before the year started. The Monday night football game is the 49ers taking on the Colts. Phillip Rivers leads Indianapolis into a must-win matchup. San Francisco can steal its spot in the postseason with a victory over Indy on Monday night. Still to come, we'll talk with Craig and his reaction to the switch at defensive coordinator. We'll hear more from Steve Sarkisian. You heard his thoughts on what Will Muschamp will bring. We'll hear him talk about the calendar and what kind of constraints that posed upon Texas, not just Longhorns, but all of college football, including whether or not he thinks the sport needs a commissioner. All that and some sound bites from Longhorn basketball power forward Cam Heide. Next on the Craig Way Show.
At Henna Chevrolet, the price you see is the price you get. Like a 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT with $15,000 off MSRP. No required dealer accessories when you arrive. No market adjustments. And we have over 40 lenders competing for your business. And when banks compete, you save. That's why Henna is Austin's favorite Chevy dealership. For a lower price made easy. Together, let's drive at Henna Chevrolet or Henna.com.
Get your mother-loving ears on because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at PayPal.com.
Big news, Texas. The Silencer Shop showroom is now open in Liberty Hill. Get hands-on with silencers, explore interactive displays, and talk with our expert staff. Whether you're new or a pro, we can make your guns better because we give a shh. The new Silencer Shop showroom, now open in Liberty Hill.
Attention Texas drivers. My Plates has a stunning range of premium embossed license plates. Whether you love the modern look of carbon fiber or the retro black and white design, there's something for everyone. Texans are loving My Plates' new embossed plates with a great choice of designs. Black and gold, black and yellow, and even the Lone Star flag. Don't miss out on this chance to personalize your ride with up to 7 letters. Head to myplates.com now and start your embossed order. That's myplates.com. Customization you can feel and see.
So Pure Talk just had their best year ever and asked me if I'd like to thank their customers on their behalf for being so awesome. I said sure. It's important to say thanks, especially this time of year, which is why, as one of their many satisfied customers, I should probably thank Pure Talk first for keeping their customer service in this country and for providing hundreds of American jobs. I appreciate that. I also appreciate their Roundup program, which makes it easy to support America's Warrior Partnership and join the fight against veteran suicide. And I love that Pure Talk donated 1,000 hand-sewn Made in America flags to veterans around Independence Day. And of course, I really appreciate their generous support of my own foundation, MicroWorks, and their commitment to help us train the next generation of skilled workers. Having said all that, it's now my pleasure, on behalf of everyone at Pure Talk, to thank you sincerely for choosing to do business with an American wireless company that actually stands for something. And one more thing. Merry Christmas.
The holidays can get expensive, but streaming your favorite festive films and music doesn't need to be. The Vizio Smart TV experience makes it easy with WatchFree Plus and the iHeartRadio app built into every TV, giving you access to free holiday classics, new favorites, and playlists all season long. Add movies to your watch list and jump in anytime. Perfect for family movie nights and cozy evenings in. You can even take WatchFree Plus on the go with the Vizio mobile app. Head to Vizio.com/iHeartRadio to learn more and take advantage of the Vizio Smart TV experience today.
The world's best ski and snowboard athletes are chasing medals. Now you can follow their every move. Join Insider, the official U.S. ski and snowboard fan loyalty program, and get premium viewing at World Cup ski events, exclusive athlete meetups, discounts from brands you love, and a custom welcome gift mailed direct to your doorstep. This winter, show your support as they race for the podium. Head to insider.usskiandsnowboard.org and join today.
Your one stop for advertising? Call 844-844-IHEART.
From the Audio-Visual Consultation Studios, Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, KDET AM Austin, your home for the Horns, and the #1 preset in your car and on the free iHeartRadio app. It's the Craig Way Show with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
to the Concho Valley. And on the team bus, the Wall Hawks will have the state championship trophy with them. Wall wins its first ever state title. The Hawks are 3A Division II state champions of Texas.
Yeah, that's right. He's not just the voice of the Texas Longhorns. He's the voice of 7 out of 12 UIL Texas State High School Football Championships in 2025. And he's joining us now, Craig Way, live from AT&T Stadium in Arlington. All right, Craig, right after we hung up yesterday, we got some big news. Steve Sarkisian making a change at defensive coordinator. And first off, just want to ask how you're doing in the middle of state championships and get what your reaction was as soon as we stopped talking yesterday.
Yeah, doing fine, Jake. And middle part of day number 3, and I've got the game tonight between Frisco Lone Star and the defending state champion, Smithson Valley in 5A Division I. We'll get back to the high school in a minute. You're right, our timing was just a little bit off by the time I got finished with you and then went back over to prepare for the next game. Then the news came down about the changes that Sark made to his staff. One thing that really struck me about this was in the news conference, and really I kind of thought it might go this way because of what I saw on social media yesterday after the moves were announced. And that was the point that there were a lot of media or whoever who were wondering what the situation was, why the changes were coming on the defensive side of the football when the offense had most of the struggle. And Sark was pretty plain spoken in his answers in the news conference that we brought to everybody live this morning on 13 Under the Zone. It's that he wasn't isolating one specific area. He was looking at the macro. He'd already made one change with his offensive staff in dismissing Chad Scott as running backs coach. And then he felt like there were also things that had to happen with the defensive side of the football, and that's why he went ahead and made those changes. It wasn't like, well, let me just pick that side or whatever. As he explained, the timing was not right for him to offer a position to Will Muschamp back a few years ago. The timing was much better. And speaking of timing, these moves that he made needed to be made before the holiday break, simply because of the transfer portal. He had to have people on staff, and with kids out for holiday break, the portal opens on January 2nd. So if he waited until whatever, January 1st or after the bowl game or a couple of days after that, it might have been too late to keep some guys, or at least have a shot to keep some guys on the roster who might look at it and go, wow, this is a complete blow up and a shake up. I need to evaluate my situation. Now, there will still be guys who do that, I think. And already some have entered the portal. Some have announced they're going to go on to the NFL. And there may be a few others. We'll see once the portal opens. But I think Sark wanted to make sure that these moves were in place beforehand. That's why he had Will Muschamp on campus yesterday. That's why he had Muschamp meeting with players like a Grayson Littleton and Colin Simmons and several of those other guys to let them know where he was with it, so he could begin to build a relationship with those guys. I think all of that played into why the decision was made to make those hires and to have that roster or that staff changeover come down yesterday instead of waiting until after the bowl game.
Yeah, and we'll hear some of his explanation on the timing of it all in terms of the transfer portal during the next segment of the show. I want to ask you about this aspect of Steve Sarkisian's press conference today, and that is the interconnected nature of him coaching the team and the offense versus what's happening on the defensive side. He said that hiring Will Muschamp to essentially serve as the, quote, head coach of the defense will allow Sark to focus more of his time on the offensive side of the ball and will also improve the Longhorns' offensive play by seeing that type of defense every day. Did this comment how did you react to that comment?
Didn't surprise me. And let me give you an example. We have a lot of great listeners and texters, and we have our one pal who texts us that firmly believes that Sark should hire a play caller, and I respect his opinion on that. We've gone back and forth, and it might be more good-natured for my part than his. I don't know. He seems a little perturbed at times on my responses on that, but I respect his opinion on it. My point all along was not whether I thought Sark was planning to make a change by hiring a play caller. That's immaterial. He's not going to. That has been my continued point, no matter how I might feel about it. It's kind of like, well, since I'm here in the home of the Dallas Cowboys, all the people who text in, and we still get a lot of these, you know this, Jake, who harangue about Jerry Jones has got to give up the general manager duties. He's got to get out of there. That's not happening. It will never happen as long as Jerry Jones is the owner of the Cowboys. And by the way, when the time comes when he's too old and infirm, and there are many who feel he's already at that now, but anyway, when that time comes, it's simply going to be passed down to Stephen Jones to run it. So that's why I've told Cowboy fans to make peace with it, to come to terms with it. Cameron Parker's done. That's why he doesn't watch him. Why he doesn't root for him, because of the ownership and the direction. Understandable. And with regard to Texas, my point is similar, that Sark is not planning to hire an offensive play caller. And while that may upset or make some people unhappy, I respect their opinion on that, but it's not going to change the fact of what's going to happen there. Now, this, however, might help. And for those who think that he should hire an offensive play caller, like you did, Jake, if they were listening to what he was saying today, that it frees him up a little more and there's less concern with what's going on with the defense. If Will Muschamp has it all under control, to use Sark's words, he said, I can be visiting with Arch more or with A.J. Milwee. In other words, they can still try to craft what they're seeing and make it work better for the offense. It's all in the plan of continuing to mold and shape and move forward and to improve, because this young group this year, and they were young on offense, is certainly more seasoned by the end of the year, and they're going to be more seasoned next year. So more is going to be expected of them, and Sark knows that, and he said more would be expected of himself as well.
You know, Craig, you got to spend some time around both Pete Kwiatkowski and Will Muschamp when he was with the Longhorns back during that run, culminating from 2008 to 2010. How would you describe the kind of difference in their personalities that Sark alluded to in the press conference today?
What's the phrase we use, 180? I mean, they are drastically different in terms of their personality makeup and their style. PK, constant level Lake, and both, by the way, have had success with their, respective formulas. And PK was always kind of low key, that sort of thing. There was a reason that Will Muschamp was known as Coach Boom when he was around on campus, because he could get really fired up and get mad. Everybody remembers in 2009 and the smashing of the whiteboard and all that other kind of stuff. But he always would have a hot motor. That said, it wasn't like anger at his players all the time. Really loved his players, and they would walk through whiteboards and brick walls and things like that for Muschamp as well. It got uncomfortable there right toward the end of his time because he had been named the head coach in waiting. Well, everybody was waiting, wondering if Mack Brown was going to go ahead and step down, and then Mack decided not to do it, and then that's when the opportunity opened up for Muschamp to leave. So, all of that stuff happened right toward the end of Mack Brown's time as head coach in Texas. But I think it's a different time and a different place now, not only for Muschamp, but for this Longhorn football program. And I think it's a good time for him to be back in the fold on the coaching staff.
Yeah, and I think this Longhorn football program is in a place, right, Craig, where they're right in the mix every single year on the national stage in the semifinals 2 years in a row, trying to break through against those top 5 programs. Do you think this kind of hire is Sark saying, well, this is the type of defense I think we need to take that next step?
Well, I think that's part of it. The aggressive nature and all that other kind of stuff. I think that's part of it. Here's the other thing that stuck with me out of the news conference. Listen, Longhorn fans can take it however they choose to and accept it or not or whatever and believe it in whatever context they choose about what I'm about to say. But Sark did say in the press conference, this team went 9-3. And 9-3 is not good enough in this day and time. And we understand that our charge, our responsibility, our expectation is to get to the college football playoff, and not only to get to the playoff, but to run the table and to win it. That's why these moves have been made. I mean, you look at a guy that now over the past 3 years is 34-8 with 2 trips to the semifinal round of the college football playoff, but they didn't get there this year. And so he's trying to address that right now so they have a chance not only to get back to that, but then have a good shot to win it all.
Craig, what do you remember about covering those defenses, both in the way that they played and the players who made up those defenses under Muschamp in Austin?
Well, I think of guys like Sam Acho and Manny Acho. I think of Earl Thomas. I think of Blake Gideon. I think of guys who are hard hitters and playmakers. And the Longhorns have some of those guys, as we know. I think they do have hard hitters like a Colin Simmons or Lance Jackson, some other guys like that. I think they do have playmakers in the secondary who are capable of it, like Malik Muhammad or Grayson Littleton. We just didn't see enough of it during the course of the year. And for folks who are asking about this particular change, while the rush defense was 8th in the country and the total defense was 39th, respectable enough, the pass defense was 107th. And so as a result of that, there were a lot of people who probably noticed that as well. Certainly Sark noticed it, and his coaching staff noticed it.
And if you're listening at home and notice the cheers in the background, Craig is in the concourse at AT&T Stadium between games at the high school state championship. Did you tell who just scored there?
Yes, Carthage again. No big surprise there. The defending state champions are awaiting a point after that would put them up 21-0 on West Orange Start late in the first half. Carthage, we talked about Aledo having more state titles than anyone, but Carthage may have been the most consistent program. Aledo right now at 12 titles, and here's Carthage going for state championship number 11, and all 11 under their head coach, Scott Surratt. If they go on and win this game, and they're up 21-0 late first half, he would be the first Texas high school football coach to start to coach 11 state championship games and win all 11. He's never lost a state championship. So he already is in the pantheon of great high school coaches in Texas, but he's going to be up there right at the top. He'll be the only one that has that many state titles single-handedly, or at least, individual as the head coach. And I'd say they have a real good shot at that.
Unbelievable. CPAL says, watching the state champ games, there's so much football talent in Texas from 6-man up, and we haven't even gotten to 5A and 6A yet. I'm tempted to call SEC schools and invite them to watch. We're going to see a lot.
They're watching. Trust me. They're watching.
Oh, sorry. He said SEC shows. Okay. But speaking of Aledo, who you mentioned, that's the team Frisco Lone Star came back from down 3 scores and knocked out earlier in the year. Now they get their shot at the defending champions from Smithson Valley, who knocked off a really good Port Arthur Memorial team in their own right to get there. What kind of talent, what kind of fun can we expect from this matchup tonight?
Well, what Lone Star has done has been pretty impressive. And let me tell you who, other than what happened last week when Aledo had the 16-point fourth quarter lead get away late. They were up 52-36, and Lone Star comes back. They score 2 touchdowns. They recover an onside kick and get one final score, and they end up winning it 56-52. They scored 20 points in the final 4 minutes of the ballgame to win that. Other than that game, the other team to play them that well was Georgetown. And when Georgetown played them in the second round, it was a solid ball game into the third quarter before Lone Star pulled away. They are loaded with explosive talent. Where do you see Damian Gross, their outstanding wide receiver? There's plenty of talent out there. Now, they're going up against a precision-oriented, very disciplined team in Smithson Valley, the defending state champions. And Smithson was able to beat Highland Park last year with that, making very, very few mistakes. Not to say they don't have playmakers. They do, both at the quarterback and the running back spot. But what they're going to have to be is at their disciplined best and staying home in their assignments, because the athletic talent for Lone Star, which, by the way, is also a very well-coached team. I'm not just saying they're a team full of talented kids. Jeff Rayburn's done a fabulous job, and he's the only coach the program has ever had. He got them to a state final 10 years ago in 2015. They lost to Cedar Park down at NRG Stadium in Houston. But He's done a fabulous job with this program. The problem was they were always in the toughest of the regions, I believe, regions that had the likes of Denton Ryan and Highland Park and those schools in there, and of course Alito. Well, they were finally able to break through that wall and get here. I think Lone Star is probably the favorite on this game. I think the computer had them like a touchdown favorite or something. But Smithson Valley, like I said, is a very button-up coach. Larry Hill, one of the all-time greats in coaching, finally got his first state title a year ago. So they're much more comfortable with the environment and the surroundings right now, and I think it'll be a good football game.
I do too. 7 o'clock on Victory Plus. Great football game last night. Wall held off Newton. You could feel the momentum really shift in that game late. It got real interesting, but we heard the call at the top of the hour. What a moment for the Hawks.
Yeah, first time ever for that school to win a state title. And you talk about doing all the things right. In the first half, they did the block punt for a touchdown, hit a couple of big plays. They're up 25-8, and it's looking like it's all over. Newton, of course, came back. Great fighting spirit, well coached, great athletes, incredible running game to get back in the game and cut it to 25-24. And then Wall was able to hold on and recover that onside kick in the waning moments to preserve the win. So a great state title victory there for the Hawks, their first state championship. And then we've got 3 games tomorrow, Jake, that it should be spellbinders. It is teams from outside here against South Dallas County. Because in the first game, you have a rematch of last year's state championship game in 5A Division II. Richmond-Randall, South Oak Cliff. Richmond-Randall beat Sauk a year ago. South Oak Cliff is in its 5th consecutive state championship game. They've won their first 2 and they've lost their last 2. This is 5 in a row now for them to reach the title round. That's the first game at 11 in the morning. The 2 games I'll be calling will be the 6A game, Duncanville and North Shore. You want to count numbers about meetings. This will be the 6th time in 9 years that Duncanville and Galena Park North Shore have met in the state final. North Shore won the first 3. Duncanville has won the last 2. And in visiting with both coaches, I had Zoom calls with both this morning, and both said the programs, there were individual players who were very special on both sides, but the programs that, look remarkably the same over the years in the way they're coached, the way they go about it. And then the nightcap, which might be the most explosive game of all, will be DeSoto against C.E. King from Houston. 2 teams that have, eye-popping offenses, and they'll try to do something with their defenses to try to slow one another down tomorrow night. So a great final day tomorrow after this one concludes and one more game tonight.
Absolutely, and I'll be tuned in to those. Craig, I'm not going to let you off the hook this easily, though, on your Los Angeles Rams, who lost from a very winnable position last night. What do you kind of make of that? On one hand, Matthew Stafford played outstanding. On the other hand, the Rams now, for a second time this season, let one get away on the road.
Well, the Rams lost the game in the way that I've seen them lose the other 3 games this year, and the way I almost kind of expected him to do, and that is to have it get away from him in the 4th quarter. Now, they did a great job in the first 3 quarters against the Seahawks. Think about this. They're up 30-14 in the 4th quarter with the football. And yes, by the way, this iPad that I'm visiting with, I had that over to my side while I was calling the 3A Division II championship game. So during breaks, I was looking over, and things like commercial breaks and stuff like that, I was looking over. But when you're up 30-14 in the 4th quarter, you got possession of football, you shouldn't lose the game. They had 3 straight 3-and-outs, and after one of those, there was a punt return for a touchdown. Then they gave up a touchdown drive. They gave up 2 two-point conversions to tie it. The second one was the bizarre one that was originally ruled an incomplete pass, overturned on review, I think correctly so, that it was a backward pass. Now, I've had other people tell me that they heard what should have been called an inadvertent whistle when the ball hit the ground. I didn't hear it. And if that was the case, then the play either should have been blown dead, and it's either a do-over or play over. It's not awarding the 2 points on that. But the NFL, I haven't seen anything from the NFL that says there was an inadvertent whistle on that. I haven't had a chance to check all of the NFL wires today. Nevertheless, the Rams still could have won the game. Got down, got the touchdown in overtime, and just could not stop Seattle coming back down the field. And you knew the Seahawks were going to go for 2 again if they scored. So no surprise there. That's how you go from being the 1 seed to the 5 seed in the span of a quarter and most of overtime, because the Rams now are not in a position to win the NFC West. And if you don't have that 1 seed, it's real hard to win the NFC. So I'd say you put that squarely in the lap of the Seahawks now, who are probably going to wind up winning the West, being the 1 seed. They're going to be tough to beat in that building as they try to, get a bye, and then all they have to do is win 2 home games to get the Super Bowl.
Craig, you're a much, much better multitasker than me, but I know you've got to get back to work. Thanks for stopping by and joining us.
Hey, fun. Appreciate you stepping in, and hope everybody has a great weekend. I'll be back in the office on Monday. JQ and I have a couple of days, Monday and Tuesday. And by the way, we'll tease, all our bump music on Monday and Tuesday are going to be some of my favorites from Christmas. So we're going to do that on Monday and Tuesday. We'll have a lineup on those. We'll do that. It won't be a Texan Tuesday. It'll be a Christmas Tuesday, so to speak, as we get it. It won't be a Longhorns Monday. It'll be a Merry Christmas Monday type of thing. So we're going to do that on Monday and Tuesday of next week. And don't forget, we've got a Longhorn basketball game on Monday night against Maryland Eastern Shore, and the women are at South Dakota State on Sunday.
Craig, 2 more shows before the holiday break. We'll make them count. Thanks again.
You bet.
And after this, we'll hear a little more from Longhorns head coach Steve Sarkisian, including his comments on the schedule that have kind of, well, I'll let him tell it right after this on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone.
Hey there, Texas fans. This is your voice of the Longhorns, Craig Way, inviting you to join us for Longhorn basketball. We'll bring you all of the action all season long, including in-depth analysis and exclusive access to players and coaches before the opening tip and after the final whistle. Every week, we'll visit with Texas head coach Sean Miller on Longhorn Weekly. This is your exclusive source for Texas Longhorns basketball, the Longhorn Radio Network from Learfield.
On 1300 The Zone.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. Dayquil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
Dayquil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Around the holidays, it's hard to find the right gifts, but you know what's even harder? Getting the right gift. And Verizon is here to help. This holiday, Verizon's giving you incredible gifts and savings you'll enjoy all year. When you switch, you'll get 4 new iPhone 17s. No trade-in needed. Save big on 4 lines and the iPhone 17 for every line. Save big this holiday. Visit Verizon today. Additional terms apply. For phone offers, see Verizon.com for details.
All right, folks, here's the Saturday blueprint. You wake up, you get your horns up, and you ice down the cooler. Crack a Bud Light and let the rest of the day take care of itself. It's simple, it's smooth, and of course, it's undefeated. Just like a perfect Texas game day should be. Because Bud Light is the official domestic beer of Texas football. Bud Light, it's easy to drink, it's easy to enjoy. Please enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. Hook 'em.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
10 athletes will face the toughest job interview in fitness that will push past physical and mental breaking points. Only one will leave with an iFit contract worth $250,000. Trainer Games on Prime Video January 8th. Watch the trailer on trainergames.com. The world needs Sesame Street. And right now, Sesame needs you. Donate today at sesame.org/iHeart. That's SESAME.org/iHeart.
Elmo loves you. Thanks for making a difference.
Get your mother-loving ears on because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at paypal.com. From the Odoo.com Traffic Center, Odoo.com, the only business software you will need.
Good afternoon, drivers. It looks like we have up to a 15-minute traffic delay on southbound 35 right now between Airport Boulevard and Cesar Chavez. Also look out for a 10-minute traffic delay if you're over on northbound Mopac. That's going to be between Bee Caves Road and Northland Drive. I'm Carson Parnell with a look at Austin area traffic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
It's the morning kickoff show with Mike Hardball Hart and Mark Henry. Weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. Only on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. We're back. It's the Craig Way Show with Hall of Fame broadcaster and voice of the Texas Longhorns, Craig Way.
Thank you to Craig Way joining us from Arlington in between state championship matchups. He'll have the call at 7 o'clock later tonight. Frisco Lone Star against Smithson Valley. This is 7-7 from Oklahoma's Turnpike Troubadours coming back from break. All right, back to Steve Sarkisian, who talked earlier about his move to replace Pete Kwiatkowski with Will Muschamp. How did he address it with his players, and how did he explain the timing of the move to them?
I think one thing that, we're all a byproduct of our circumstances, quite frankly. And unfortunately, college football's calendar isn't conducive to making coaching changes after the season, after your bowl game or after the playoffs. And I think we've seen that throughout the country with the amount of head coaching changes that got made so early in a season. Why is that? If I wait till after the bowl game to make this change on January 1st and or January 2nd, this thing opens up on January 2nd called the transfer portal. And so as we get back from Orlando and our guys decide to go home, we don't start school until January 6th, January 12th. The portal opens January 2nd. And I decide to make a coaching change on January 2nd while I've got players in Dallas, Houston, Georgia, Florida, California, and they got to read on Twitter that we changed defensive coordinators. Well, they might be a bigger flight risk than now. I made a change yesterday. Will Muschamp was in our building, and he was able to start sitting down with those players right now, and he's able to start forging personal relationships with the players on our roster right now. He's able to sit down with Colin, Grayson Littleton, Cade Phillips, Alex January, all these guys. And so they're getting a sense and a feel for him right now, as opposed to flying around on a plane and I got to go visit these guys in South Dallas or in Orlando or in California. It's a lot easier to do that now. And that's unfortunate, because I'd love for our coaches to finish what they started this season and try to go get 10 wins. But the calendar has forced that upon us, and it's forced that issue on us. And so it is what it is. And again, I don't think it's unique to us. I mean, look at how many high profile jobs made changes. We got a head coach right now that left a playoff team, that went to go coach another school and left that team. And so that's unfortunate, because I don't think that that's what we want for college football, but that is the state of college football right now. And that's why you see the coaching changes take place when they do.
Not sure Lane Kiffin loved that comment there from Coach Sark. He was asked to expand on the difficulties that the new calendar provides and was asked by Roger Wallace, are there solutions you have in mind? Take a listen.
I think that through it all, and I've said this numerous times, like the popularity of college football is at an all-time high. I mean, just look at the viewership of these games and not only of college football, look at the popularity of the Southeastern Conference. Look at the viewership of our games. And people love our sport. People love our conference. People love the competitiveness of our sport. And so that's great. But man, under the hood, we've got a broken system going right now. And we've got to get a lot of different parties on the same page. And it's not going to be an overnight fix. Everybody's like, well, we just need a commissioner of college football. Well, the commissioner's no good if he doesn't have power. And without power, in putting rules in place with no enforcement does nobody any good. And so whether you want to talk about the portal, whether you want to talk about tampering, whether you want to talk about the calendar, whether you want to talk about the CFP and the committee and the criteria for choosing the teams, we just got committees all over the place that say this is what we're going to do. But I don't know who follows through with what's the enforcement of. I know we do within the SEC, but on a bigger scale, I don't know where all of those things are falling to. And I think a lot of it is we've got to start to corral this, and we got to start knocking off one thing at a time, but yet we've got to do it in unison, because we changed a transfer portal window, but yet we didn't affect the college football playoff, right? And so how do those things work in conjunction? Well, this is a committee over here talking about the CFP. There's another committee over here talking about the calendar of how we operate. There's another committee over here talking about, well, you can have 85 players on scholarship this year. Next year, you can have 105. Well, that would have been nice to know when we moved signing date up to the first Wednesday in December. We didn't know. We were signing as if we had 85. Well, now you're telling me we can go to 105. And so we've got to get everybody living and operating under the same roof. Well, yeah, that means we probably need a commissioner, and that commissioner probably needs one governing committee which can govern the rules that are getting put in place by these committees. Well, that's supposed to be the NCAA. Unfortunately, right now, the NCAA has no teeth, because anytime we put things in place that we all signed up to be part of the NCAA, but yet when the NCAA tries to put a rule in place, somebody inevitably is going to go sue the NCAA and say, no, I don't like that rule. Well, then you shouldn't have joined this group that we all chose to join, which was the NCAA. And right now, the NCAA just doesn't have enough teeth to enforce the things that we're saying we're going to do. So we've got some issues here. We've got a lot of smart people in place. Somebody has got to take the bull by the horns, no pun intended, and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. Who's willing to follow us and do this way? And if you don't want to follow it, that's fine. Stay over here. But if you're going to follow us, fall in line. If not, then there's some real punishment that comes with that. And so this is not something that overnight is going to get fixed, but I do think it can get fixed, and it will get fixed, because our sport and our game is too good right now. We've just got to corral some of these things. And right now, it's as bad as I've seen it. Everybody 2 years ago talked about the Wild Wild West. It's way worse than it was 2 years ago. It's beyond where anybody could have imagined where we thought we would be, but we can fix it if we all start to agree on things and everybody start to get on the same page. And if you don't want to agree, then go play over here, go play in your own sandbox. But in this sandbox, these are the rules. And do I think we can get there? Yes. Do I think we're going to get there tomorrow? No, it's going to take us some time.
I mean, those are some strong words about the NCAA. I think he brings up a lot of good points there, just in the wild, wild west nature of college football right now. Certainly, he's right that we have to get some consistency in terms of the enforcement of certain things. Just last week, right, you have the SEC announcing a 9-game conference schedule. Meanwhile, the ACC, whose tie-breaking scenarios helped end up with 2 G5 teams in the playoff, they rolled out a scheduled plan where you've got teams playing different amounts of conference games every year. That's even a less egregious example of some of the things that Sark is talking about that have him worried for the place that college football is in right now. Okay, we'll hear more of Sark's comments, more specifically about this Longhorn team, where they stand right now practicing for the Citrus Bowl, and what he thinks are the key priorities with Will Muschamp going into year number 6. That's coming up on Sports Radio AM 1300, The Zone, and the free iHeartRadio app.
From the ABA Heating and Cooling Weather Center, this is Zone Weather.
Austin area weather calling for partly cloudy skies tonight, a low of 48. Sunny tomorrow, we'll see highs in the mid-70s and a low of 55 tomorrow night.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get 500 points for logging in to the Lowe's app for the first time. Take advantage of all your pro benefits today. Valid 12/1/25 to 1/7/26. Offer valid for first login only. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for more details.
We are headlong into December with bowl games and the college football playoff on tap and the NFL regular season heading down the home stretch. Are you enjoying all of this on your home entertainment system? If not, or maybe you've got some issues, if you can use a little help, why not give my friend Tom McKay a call at Audio Visual Consultations? Whether you're into the NFL, college football, college basketball, whatever it might be, AV Consultations has the equipment, the technology, and the expertise to help you set up your home theater, your man cave, your living room, den, or whatever room you need outfitted, set up the way you want it done. And that includes getting your streaming devices connected into your TV and your entertainment set up. You won't have to worry about dealing with the big box stores during this holiday season to buy that HD TV you've had your eye on. Tom and his crew can get it all set up for you. Give Tom McKay and his staff a call today at 512-255-8678. That's 512-255-8678, or you can find them on the web at avconsultations.com. Let Tom McKay and Audiovisual Consultations help you realize the home entertainment system of your dreams.
Get your mother-loving ears on because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at PayPal.com.
The deal you've been waiting for is at Group 1 Ford of South Austin, home of transparent pricing and no dealer add-ons. Get 0% financing for 60 months plus $12,000 off MSRP with no payments for 90 days. And we'll donate $100 to St. Jude Children's Hospital for every vehicle sold in December. No games, just deals at Group 1 Ford of South Austin. Visit us on South I-35 or online at Group1FordofSouthAustin.com. F-150 example, MSRP $83,125 before discounts. 0% for well-qualified buyers with approved credit. See dealer for details.
This winter, the world will be watching the best skaters chase their Olympic dreams. For your child, that dream could start right here at your local rink. Through Learn to Skate USA, kids build strength, confidence, and courage, the same qualities that take athletes to the Olympic ice. Learn to Skate USA offers programs for skaters of all ages and abilities. This is where the journey begins. Find a program near you at learntosskateusa.com, because every champion starts with a first glide.
Make money predicting boxing, politics, culture, and more legally nationwide with Kalshi. From sports to Bitcoin, the Oscars, and even politics, if it matters, you can trade on it. Will Jake Paul pull up the upset? Paul is trading at 14% to beat Anthony Joshua. This means if you put 100 down, you get $715 back if he wins. And for a limited time, use code iHeart and get $20 when you trade 100. KALSHI.com. Trade involves risk. Kalshi.
Do you like free money? Well, today's your lucky day. Better Picks is offering a free $10 just for signing up. Download the Better app, pick more or less on your favorite player's stats, watch the games, and win some cash. It's that simple. Better Picks available in 33 states, including Texas, California, and Georgia. Download the Better app today. That's Better, BETR, and get a free $10, no deposit necessary. Must be 21 or older in a jurisdiction where Better Picks operates. Terms and conditions apply. Better Picks. Sports just got better.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get your mother-loving ears on because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at paypal.com.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, your home for the Horns. Back to the Craig Way Show. Connect with Craig through the text line by texting ZONE to 81530, followed by your message. Standard message and data rates may apply.
Rex Orange County with the shade. Perhaps Steve Sarkisian throwing a little shade at Lane Kiffin during his comments today, addressing the assembled local media and speaking to the reasoning behind the Will Muschamp hire. He'll be taking over the Texas defense, returning to Austin for the first time since 2010. What was it about Muschamp's intensity on the sideline that Sark was drawn to and expects from Muschamp coming up this season?
I love Will's level of intensity. I love his passion. I love his demanding nature of which he coaches. But in the same token, I love the love that he gets, the connection that he gets from his players. And if you talk to anybody who's ever played for Will Muschamp, they talk about that passion. They talk about that intensity. They talk about the demanding nature of which he coaches. Be it on the same token, they talk about who he is as a person and the connection that he has. And so for me, I love the fact that on game day, I can spend a little more time focusing on offensive football and allow him to kind of be with those players, making those calls. If we need to call a timeout when we're on defense, I don't always have to be on the defensive headset every single play of defense. I can go talk to Arch. I can be with Coach Milwee, Coach Flood. And so, again, I think there was a level to this that maybe it's hard to see, from just looking through the window. But ideally, when you get under the hood, you're like, oh, there's some reasoning behind what we did to help not only the defensive side of the ball, but actually help us offensively. And so there's layers to it. But again, I think the passion, the energy, the intensity is real. And that's something that, I really have felt like I've wanted and needed, and Coach Nansen provides that, and we got it. But man, in this league, you got to have it all, and you got to have it every week, as we know, because there's challenging games that week in and week out that you got to get yourself ready for.
So Steve Sarkisian now entering year 6 as the Longhorns head coach. What's the challenge of making a switch like this at such a key position, defensive coordinator, especially given Sark's expertise, really relying on the offensive side of the ball? And how do you make the right adjustment without sacrificing some of the winning culture that you built?
Having gone to the playoffs 2 years in a row, it felt like, I don't know when year 3, year 4 even ended going into year 5. It just felt like we just kept rolling, right? Because our seasons were going so long. There was so much change in college football. It just felt like keep going, keep going, keep going. And it was probably, quite frankly, difficult to actually do a real audit on our organization because it was just an ongoing process from one to the next to the next. And one thing that came out of not making the playoffs, which, believe me, I wish we were in, and I still think we should be in, and I don't feel bad saying that. It gave me a little more time, and it gave me some time to step back and really look at this thing from a 10,000-foot view of say, okay, some of these issues may have reared their ugly head this year, but when I look back a year ago, 2 years ago, I could see the crack starting to form, and I didn't address them then when maybe I could have, but there was so much happening and we were having success that now was a time where I felt like, man, I can really address some of these issues. We have the time to do it. But the one thing I know that we've got the right core values in place in our organization. We got the right leadership. We've got a great staff. We've got great players in our program that are not only really good players, really good people, and they understand what our culture is about. And so, when I look at some of these players that have grown up in our program in the eyes, they know what this place stands for. And so I don't think we'll let that falter. And to your point, and I think the men that we're bringing into our organization now, they believe in the same things we believe in. And you guys will get a chance. Will. You know what he stands for. You'll get a chance to be around Coach Jaluk. You'll see what he stands for. And the players that play for those guys already understand what they stand for. And the players we're recruiting. We haven't changed the philosophy of the types of players we're trying to bring in our organization. But again, every year you got to recreate it, right? You can't just assume it's just going to keep going. I've got to do a great job. Our staff's got to do a great job of recreating that when we get back to winter conditioning of what is our culture, what do we believe in, here's how we go about reestablishing that year in and year out.
Interesting question. Was Sark harsher on his own team in that audit, that evaluation of the 2025 season after missing the college football playoff?
I don't know if it was necessarily harsher. I'm a very transparent coach with players, coaches, staff, recruiting staff, whatever that is, of things that we do well, areas where I think we can improve, or ways we need to pivot and do it a little bit different. And so I don't know if I necessarily was harsher, but it did allow me to do a little bit of a deeper dive into some of those things and allow me to try to figure out what and how and where we can improve and get better. I think at the end of the day, I don't lose sight of, how far we've come, from where we were when we first arrived to what it looked like coming out of year one to all of a sudden, we go to 2 CFPs, we're in 2 semifinals, and we have an opportunity to play for national titles, and we don't get there. The idea that we were a 9-3 team, 6-2 in the Southeastern Conference, and finished where we did, there's a level of disappointment, don't get me wrong, but probably more than anything, there's this level of motivation, right? That to get back, of what that looks like and what that feels like, what that tastes like. And so the disappointment's a good taste to have in our mouths. But that's not going to be the thing that's just going to carry us all year next year. We've got to get back to who we are. We had a good season, and I won't take that away from this team. And we had some great wins. And like I said, anytime you can beat your rivals, you can beat both those teams are in the playoff, you should feel good about, for us, like the type of team we had, but we weren't quite good enough. And so how do we get to where we are good enough, and not just good enough to get in, but good enough to go win the whole thing? And that's the goal every year here. That's why you're at the University of Texas. I've said this all along. I didn't take this job just to be the head coach at Texas. I took this job to be a national champion. I took this job to be an SEC champion. And those are tall tasks, but that's why we're here. That's the standard. And that's the level of which we operate on every single day.
One more soundbite from Sark coming up about the Citrus Bowl practices, but we need a quick break before we wrap up the Craig Way Show on Sports Radio AM 1300, The Zone.
The Texas Longhorns are bowling in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl New Year's Eve against the Michigan Wolverines. Twin Peaks Round Rock has all your game day action. Come out for Longhorns game day beginning at 11 a.m. Join me, Cameron Parker, alongside Mike Hardball Harge and Mark Henry as we break down Texas versus Michigan with special guests and insiders. And then stick around for kickoff. Great food, cold beer, and that burnt orange energy. We'll see you there. Hook 'em.
At Henna Chevrolet, the price you see is the price you get. Like a 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT with $15,000 off MSRP. No required dealer accessories when you arrive. No market adjustments. And we have over 40 lenders competing for your business. And when banks compete, you save. That's why Henna is Austin's favorite Chevy dealership. For a lower price made easy. Together, let's drive at Henna Chevrolet or Henna.com.
Every now and then I rinse it out, and I need Downy rinse tonight, and I need it more. My king was the bed and the smell never leaves. I don't know what to do. I'm always in the dark. The sweat and dead short smells like a dog bar. Downy rinse it tonight.
Downy Rinse fights stubborn odors in just one wash. When impossible odors get stuck in,
Rinse it out.
You took the elevator to the 48th floor and handed him the briefing. Your fingertips touched, sending a shockwave of desire through the air. The room pulsed with a silent craving as he drew you in with his smoldering gaze, before uttering the words your body ached to hear.
The next train on track 2 is delayed.
And all the while, you were on your commute home. There's more to imagine when you listen. Discover romance titles on Audible.
The world's best ski and snowboard athletes are chasing medals. Now you can follow their every move. Join Insider, the official U.S. ski and snowboard fan loyalty program, and get premium viewing at World Cup ski events, exclusive athlete meetups, discounts from brands you love, and a custom welcome gift mailed direct to your doorstep. This winter, show your support as they race for the podium. Head to insider.usskiandsnowboard.org and join today.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-616-1997. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-616-1997. That's 800-616-1997. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Get your mother-loving ears on because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at paypal.com.
10 athletes will face the toughest job interview in fitness
that will push past physical and mental breaking points. You are the fittest of the fit. Only one of you will leave here with an iFit contract for $250,000.
This is when mindset comes in.
Someone will be eliminated.
Pressure is coming down.
Trainer Games on Prime Video January 8th. Watch the trailer on trainergames.com.
The holiday hustle is real. The traffic, the crowds, the never-ending to-do list.
And nowhere to park. Perfect.
That's why drivers use ParkWiz. They already save up to 50% when they book ahead. This holiday season, use promo code JINGLE10 in the ParkWiz app for an extra 10% off your next reservation. Because during the holidays, every minute and every dollar counts. ParkWiz. Less circling, more celebrating. Download the ParkWiz app and use code JINGLE10 to save an extra 10% today. Offer valid through December 31st. App reservations only. Limit 1 per user.
Longhorns football plays here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone.
All right, one more soundbite for you. Longhorns head coach Steve Sarkisian, his last likely media availability before the Citrus Bowl. He was asked, are any players or position groups standing out in these all-important extra practices?
I thought the practices went really well. You know, thinking back, and I always struggle with this because I leave guys out. And so this is not to take away from anybody, but I thought it was really good practice for the running backs, you know, because Coach DeLute got in a little sooner. And to see those guys practicing with the intent they practice with, I think about Christian Clark, James Simon, Michael Terry. Thought all three of those guys. These have been great practices for Jamie French and Khalil Lockett. The young tight ends. I think about Amari Winston, who kind of fell back a little bit, and Nick Townsend. We saw his growth in Jordan, but I think Amari, those practices were good for him. I think about Zealous Hicks at safety. I thought these practices have been great for him. Bo Barnes at linebacker, which is going to be needed. We're a little thin at that spot, and he's probably going to play in this game, so getting him ready to go. So those to name a few. A couple of the interior defensive linemen, Josiah Sharma, Myron Charles. I think these practices have been great for them. Smith Arogbo. So again, a lot of faces. When you only got 65 scholarship players, everybody's got to be ready to go, right? If you're not in the starting lineup, you keep your bat in hands in the dugout because you never know when your number is going to get called to get in the on-deck circle. So everybody's got to be ready to go in this game, and that should serve as a good opportunity for these guys to practice with real intent to be ready to play come the 31st.
And that is the next time the Texas Longhorns will be in action. Thank you so much to Craig Way, who jumped on and joined us earlier this hour. If you missed our conversation from Arlington, you can listen to that wherever you get your podcasts. We suggest you get them on the iHeartRadio app. That'll also have episodes from the past week of the show, including all of our guest segments. We had plenty of folks who joined the show this week and reacted to this big news, the defensive coaching shakeup for the Texas Longhorns. Don't forget, Texas women's basketball in action at 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon right here on AM 1300 The Zone. Whatever you're doing this weekend, if it's the start of your holiday break, enjoy the time with your folks, enjoy the college football playoff, but not too much if you're an OU or A&M fan. Take care. We'll talk to you on Monday when the Craig Way Show returns from 2 to 5 p.m.